All right, Scoob, we're live. Let us know when and if you can see us.
Is it saying
I don't know. That's what we're going to see. What do you see right now on your screen?
it says you ended the session, so she's telling me just finished.
So-
Thanks for your feedback stream.
Can you go to the link again? We go to the link again. Can you guys hear me? Go to the chat box. Very good. We're good on my end. Oh, man. Whew. I think we're good now.
I can hear you now. We're good. It's just it's a different.
It's a what?
Audio's good.
All right.
Got it.
Sorry about that, guys. We did probably 4 or 5 tests before this, and they all went perfectly. And then, of course, right when you go live, everything falls apart. Good old stuff. Let us know where you guys are from in the chat box. We'll get going here in about 5 minutes. Let people get filtering in. I'm going to send everyone an email right now just in case. Make sure we all got the right link here. We are live. Come on in, peeps. So you should be getting an email here.
New York.
If you're already on, disregard. Very nice. Sending out. Not that one.
Byron from Hong Kong.
Coming from
Germany,
Hong Kong.
France. Got people from all over.
Very nice.
Panama.
Okay. Should be good
Have any further
here.
questions? Please let me know.
Please let me know.
Exactly.
What's up, fellas?
Vladimir.
We have audio, Andrew.
We don't know. We didn't change anything. We just restarted it.
Softwares, man. Our next step after building a course is to start developing our own softwares that work better. We use the best softwares available, and they still bonk out sometimes. So that's why I do automated webinars. You guys have probably seen my full-time filmmaker automated webinars. I do automated because there just tends to be issues sometimes with live. Unavoidable sometimes. Nothing you can do, just software issues. We got 126 people on right now. We're going to wait 2 or 3 more minutes. We're almost at 11 o'clock, officially starting our webinar. You guys are all early. Look at you guys all early to the show today. But yeah, we're going to wait a couple minutes, let people get shuffling in. We had about 500-600 people sign up for this. Usually about half show up, so we'll probably get 200 or 300 people in. So we'll wait here just a minute. What's up, Joseph? What's up, Walter? What's up, Walter Weber from Germany? Michael from Tennessee. 155 in the room right now. Yeah, you look younger than the full-time filmmaker. I am getting younger every day,
Chris?
actually. We have audio, Paul. Things are clicking. They're looking good. Guys, this is going to be a fun webinar. First of all, we got a fun little presentation for you. And then we got a fun Q&A at the end. Get you all involved. Get you asking questions. What's the secret to your arms? Well, you guys know I just glide cam a lot. But other than that, a few pull-ups here and there. Let's do this. What's up, Damien? Good to see you, brother. South Carolina is where you coming from, North Carolina? Jake loves the Q&As.
Got a lot of people from Germany.
Our Germans they're faithful out there.
Our last name is German, isn't it?
Our last name, Walbeck, is
Walbeck.
German.
Jake Weiser from the Promised Land.
Jake, quit commenting. We're sick of seeing your comments.
I saw that twice, Jake. I ignored it the first time.
Let's go, Chaz. What up, Chaz? Lindquist, right? Chris Moser. Take my money. I've been looking forward to this for a long time, guys. This has been a year in the making. We started building Course Creator Pro over a year ago. I've been testing it out on a lot of other courses to make sure it actually works besides full-time filmmaker. And it's been working. So we're like, let's develop it and get it out to the world, let people start replicating similar courses. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started here. We're still going to wait a couple minutes, let people get shuffling in. We're up to 180 right now. We'll probably get up to at least 200, maybe 300 as we go. But while we're waiting, we're going to do a quick couple polls just to kind of get a gauge of who's here. So let me know, guys, how old are you? Go ahead and start that poll, Dakota. You should see that on your screen right now. Let me know how old you guys are. We'll get a feel for what our demographic is. This helps us know who to market and who to target. That's one quick tip right now. When you're trying to figure out if you have a good course idea and if you have a product that's going to sell, figure out who your demographic is. I know historically that my demographic is usually in their 20s, low 30s, and that's what the polls are showing here. Looks like about 25 to 30 is the majority. Got some 18, 24-year-olds, some 31, 39-year-olds. And bless your hearts, all your 40-year-old pluses. We love you guys. You just bring maturity. Go ahead and end the poll. You guys can see what that looks like.
It's never too late to start.
I had a 65-year-old email me saying, I don't think I can do this. I'm like, dude, of course you can do it. Doesn't matter how old you are. All right, let's do one more poll here. I want to know what you guys are excited to learn about from Course Creator Pro. We have a few sections. We have the creative, teaching how to film, script, edit, the infrastructure, how the course runs, the marketing, the webinar like what you're watching right now, Facebook ads, how to run Facebook ad campaigns. What are you most excited to learn about? I'm interested to see which parts are most intriguing to you. Oh, that's a pretty even split. It's funny Facebook ads are the lowest because
That's where the money's at.
that's where the money's at, guys. That's how you actually profit. Looks like creative, infrastructure, and marketing are all pretty split. Looks like the marketing's number one. Marketing and advertising, it kind of goes in the same boat. Yeah, go ahead and show them the results there. That's a pretty even split. That's good because we're going to be covering all that today. All right, we're about 3 minutes past 11, so we're going to go ahead and dive in. We have a good idea of who's here, what you guys want to learn about, and yeah. It's way too loud. Lowering Windows volume doesn't work. Diego. All right, well, I'll try and talk quieter then. Here we go, guys. We'll dive in. Go ahead and pull up our slideshow here. This is going to be about a half hour long, guys, and then we'll do the start the pre-sale. Pulling up here, just a second. So a quick overview of what you guys can expect in this webinar. First off, I'll be giving you guys a quick background of who we are and why you'd even want to listen to us and our methods of creating, marketing, and selling online courses. Then we're going to be discussing the 3 biggest problems that I see that keep people from being successful in selling their online courses. Then I'm going to be showing you my 3 pillars of success, namely having a strong product, a strong webinar, and a strong ad campaign. And then in about a half hour, I'm going to explain to you what Course Creator Pro includes, and then we'll be opening up the shopping cart to allow the first 100 people to join at 50% off for that pre-sale price. And then while the first 100 are getting signed up, we'll stick around for a Q&A so you guys can ask any lingering questions you may have. If you have any further questions, you will please let me know at the end. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right in. So first off, a little bit about me. You guys know. Oh, we got a problem.
Nothing works.
What's the price? Oh, it should be okay. Unless, is there a lot of people?
No audio, video cut out. Video and audio just cut out. It's 3 different people.
Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me? Everything works for me. All right. If you guys are having connection issues, by the way, I recommend being on a computer. You guys have the link. I've emailed it out to you. Make sure you're on a computer if possible. And we should be good. All right. So first off, a little bit about me. Most of you do know me. My name is Parker Welbeck. For the past 7 years, I've traveled the world creating video content. Also run a YouTube channel with 500,000 subscribers. And over the past 3 years, I've been running this course, Full-Time Filmmaker, that many of you are members of, that has grossed over $3 million in 3 years and is currently grossing over $250,000 per month in revenue. And we've created this new course, Course Creator Pro, to share with you my entire business model of how I created Full-Time Filmmaker and how you can create it step by step so that hopefully I can help all of you start creating successful online courses. Now, as I mentioned in one of the previous emails we emailed out last week, Full-time Filmmaker is in the top 1% in revenue generating courses, meaning of all the online course creators out there, we are one of the most successful to enter this market. That's why we feel qualified and obligated to be sharing our ways of success with all of you. But I do want to point out that though we have been able to make $250,000 a year in selling online courses, the average course creator makes more around $5,000 to $10,000, which is still above the average income for an American. However, most course creators don't have this blueprint that we're about to share with you today. So hopefully any of you guys who take on this endeavor can become above average course creators. And I can almost guarantee that most of you listening to my voice right now have skills that you could be teaching that would allow you to make 6 to 7 figures a year doing so. The problem is, and the reason why most people don't, is because, number one, you may not have the confidence, thinking that the market is already too oversaturated. There's already too many people that know more than you, and so you never even try. I felt like that at one point. Number two, second problem is you may be willing to teach, but you don't know how to set up the infrastructure or system to host that course, let alone how to market and sell it. Or number three, some of you guys have already set up a course and you are selling it, but you don't know how to scale your sales from a 5-figure income to a 6 or 7-figure income. I'm betting most of you fit into at least one of those 3 categories, or else you probably wouldn't be tuned into this webinar right now. So let me take a minute to convince you that all those 3 problems are solvable, they can be overcome, and then we'll give you some solutions of how you can overcome them. Problem number 1, if you guys are stuck in that first problem where you're thinking to yourself, or you've already told me, I can't do this because I don't have a following, or I'm not famous, or I'm not an expert status, or there's already so many people that know more than me on this subject. To you, I say I was in that same boat with Full-Time Filmmaker. I did have some following that helped me make my initial $80,000 at launch day. But as you can see from this monthly graph, after my launch day, I had no one else to sell to. I had exhausted my full following, and the rest of my growth over the next 3 years, accumulating millions of dollars, came from implementing strategies that we'll be teaching in the course. So a following is good to kick you off, but there's a lot more to it than just having a following. So don't get hung up thinking you're not qualified enough to teach. I always tell people that I feel like I was at a level 7 expertise when I started filmmaking and when I launched my Full-Time Filmmaker course. And so I didn't feel super confident that I'd be able to teach because there were tens of thousands of filmmakers that probably knew more than me, but there was hundreds of thousands of people that knew less than me. And I knew that because they were asking me on social media for me to share my knowledge. And that's a big telltale sign if you guys should start a course, if you have people asking for your expertise or for your services. But make no mistake, guys, this isn't a course teaching you just how to make filmmaking courses. I have tested out my methods on marriage advice courses, piano lesson courses, audio engineering courses. Any skill you guys have that other people desire to have can be turned into a sellable course. So anytime you guys lack confidence, thinking that you're not good enough or you don't know enough, just think about Frank Abagnale from the true story Catch Me If You Can, if you guys have seen that movie. He was able to pretend to be a college professor teaching advanced sociology, even though he knew nothing about the subject, simply by reading one chapter ahead of the students. So be confident, guys, and fake it till you make it. I talk about that a lot, super important. Now, for those of you stuck on problem 2 that are willing and wanting to share your knowledge, but you have no idea how to build a course, let alone how to market and sell it, to you I say, when I launched Full-Time Filmmaker, I had no idea how to build an online course either. I didn't know a single thing about online marketing and advertising and had never heard about Facebook advertisements. I was a complete noob, just like some of you. Yet within a year of learning all by trial and error and through some mentoring from others who had already successfully been doing online courses, I was able to figure it out. However, it was difficult, very difficult to figure out, and I almost quit on several occasions because I thought there was no way I was ever going to be able to learn everything that I needed to in order to make this business run smoothly. So guys, I can relate to where you're at. A lot of you have asked me these questions, and I'm telling you, if I can do it, any of you guys can do it as well. And that's why we've made this course, is to give you guys a step-by-step guide, a blueprint to our success that will help cut your learning curve in half. Got some issues. Yeah, if you guys get frozen, just reconnect. It's mostly a connection issue, probably on your end, but we're going to be running through the webinar. So if you have any issues, hit that reconnect button. So yeah, anyway, a lot of trial and error, but I know you guys can do this. Now, if you guys are one of those who've already built a course, there's only a few of you, and you're struggling to sell it or scale it, I would say welcome to the 99% of course creators out there. You're not alone. After my launch of Full-Time Filmmaker, it took about 6 months before I felt like I had a good handle on advertising it and was bringing in consistent sales through my advertising efforts. The problem is most people who create courses put in little or no effort into their marketing and advertising strategies. They fail to create a sales funnel or system by which they can find leads and warm up those leads through a series of free content to eventually convince them to buy the product. Most people just hope that the content will speak for itself. But if nobody knows about your course, guys, and they don't get a taste of what it's like, then it doesn't matter how good it is, you're never going to sell anything. And that's where webinars on Facebook really come into play. They're both tricky to learn, like I've mentioned, but again, with my blueprint and step-by-step instructions in this course, I'll hopefully be eliminating 90% of those difficulties. So there's the 3 main problems that you guys will see that I've seen of you guys having. Hopefully that gives you the confidence to know that no matter which of those 3 problems you're stuck on, that this course can help solve them. But let's now talk for a second about some of the solutions that we'll be teaching in this course. Now, guys, I attribute most of my success to building a 7-figure online course to having built a strong foundation. And I call my foundation my 3 pillars of success. We'll talk about more in the course, but the first pillar is a strong product. You have to build a product or course that both fills a need in the marketplace and is something that you're actually good at, that you have a skill for. And there's an intersecting point between market demand and your skill set, and you have to do market research to figure out where that point is to be successful. And so I get asked a lot, well, how do I know, if my skill set is good and if there's a demand? Well, you got to do market research. And again, we talk about this in depth in the course, but basically you need to survey potential customers and ask them what they would want in a course, and if you were to make one, and then cater that curriculum around that ideal customer. Then once you know what to teach, you need to take the time to structure an outline your curriculum to make sure you're teaching everything your customer wants to know in a chronological, concise, and organized manner. Then, once you have your curriculum built, I would recommend scripting out each one of your videos to make sure you're covering all the needed material and then cutting out all the fluff. Then you got to make sure to film and edit each of those video tutorials in a way that is engaging and comprehensive. I'd say this is probably the biggest thing, and you guys would probably agree, that separates Full-Time Filmmaker from other online courses out there and other, free YouTube content. Got a question?
Yeah, Diego, or what was the weekly income on that?
Weekly income on that chart we just showed you was $57,000 revenue for about $7,000 ads that we spend. So we profit on average $50,000 to $60,000 a week in profits.
And yes, Ross, we actually go over pretty much the second half of the course can be applied to any sort of business, e-commerce, physical, or whatever.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later, but the Facebook ads that we teach you guys, it applies to any business, not just online courses. So incredible skill to acquire. But like I was saying, I think this is what separates Full-Time Filmmaker. I think you guys would agree, is that most of the other training content isn't very well thought out. It's not chronological. It usually takes them 10 times longer to explain what they're trying to get across. And at the end of the day, they just don't teach it as well as they could have. And trust me, I know how it feels because I've paid for dozens of online courses and I've watched thousands of YouTube tutorials like you guys. And most of the people making training material, they follow these bad patterns. And we're going to help you break those bad patterns by teaching you how to present material in a way that creates optimal learning for your viewers and separates you from the rest of the free content and poor created courses out there. Now, the second part to a strong product is hosting it on sites that function well and give the viewers a great purchasing and consuming experience. I personally use Teachable to host my course. I started out on Thinkific and I liked it well enough, but Teachable had a few options that I liked better that made it worth switching over. There's literally hundreds of options out there, guys, each with pros and cons. However, I found Teachable to be my favorite option and the option I would recommend. And the pricing plan I recommend using on Teachable is their professional plan that costs $100 a month. So that's one of your main costs of running a course. But we've actually worked out a deal with Teachable to give you guys, all those who join the course, the first month completely free. So that would help save $100 up front. But in order to take advantage of that, you got to use our affiliate link that we'll provide in the course. But aside from hosting the course itself, there's other softwares you're going to need as well. to run this business and make it kind of an automated, smooth system. Keep in mind that our way of running this course isn't the only way. There's a ton of softwares I've seen people use that work great too. We're simply sharing the system we built, and you can save a lot of time by replicating that same system, or you can spend weeks and months like I did studying and researching different softwares and pick and choose the ones that work best for your business. But here's a few other softwares we use to run our course. We use MailChimp to host all our email addresses. So when you get emails from me, it's coming from a service called MailChimp. Squarespace I use to build my original Full-Time Filmmaker website, and I use to build the landing page for Course Creator Pro where you signed up for emails. Webinar Jam and EveryWebinar, which is what we're using right now. Of course, it had some issues at the beginning. They always do. But it is one of the most popular softwares out there and one that works best, unfortunately. And we'll talk about it more in a sec. And then various other softwares we use as well to connect all these softwares together. So again, having a strong product is the first pillar to success, and we show you step by step how to create that infrastructure and how to use all these softwares. Now, our second pillar of success is having a strong webinar. I've found, guys, that the best way to market my online course is through using automated webinars. And we'll talk about the differences between live and automated in the course. But like I mentioned, I'm using this software right now. This is Webinar Jam. It's probably the most popular out there. It costs about $50 a month to use. But again, by using our affiliate link in the course, you can save $100 and get your first 2 months for free by using that link.
We have another good question here.
Good question from Holden. Holden says, you have to make it on your own, but how do you avoid feeling like you're copying the work of someone else? That's a good question, Holden. We'll address this more at the end, but I feel like everybody's course is built off of somebody else's material. In fact, I watched hundreds of YouTube videos to formulate my course, and I just took the best material from a bunch of different videos and created something that was catered to what I felt was most important. So don't feel like you're copying, as long as you're not just verbatim, word for word, making someone else's course, but really, taking the best of other people's stuff and adding your own, then it becomes original.
And to compare Full-Time Filmmaker and this Course Creator Pro, is we recycle a lot of the fundamentals that we teach you guys, but because Course Creator Pro is different material, it's a different target audience, you have to switch it up.
Right. You
have to adjust it, and that's where it becomes your own style.
Yeah, we'll get to that more in a second, Holden. But a few reasons why webinars are so good, guys. Number one, they provide customers with free content, basically like a free trial that allows them to see what the course is going to be like and help decide if it's valuable enough to buy. Number two, webinars capture email addresses so that you can remarket to people who signed up for it. For example, everyone who doesn't sign up for Course Creator Pro at the end of this webinar, you better believe you're going to get some follow-up emails that's going to give you more information on the product and clear up any questions you may have that will convince some of you guys to buy in the days to follow. Number three is that webinars help gain trust. With Full-Time Filmmaker, I sell an $800 product, and it's going to be hard for someone who just stumbles across one of my Facebook ads to click on that product and within minutes of discovering who I even am, pay me $800. Most people are going to take their time before making a large purchase like that. So by running webinars, you get your potential customer listening to your voice for up to an hour, sharing all kinds of valuable insights and nuggets of knowledge that help them trust you enough to buy something from you. Like, for example, this nugget of knowledge that we're going to share with you right now. When we got a question?
Yeah, I like Eric's question. What if your potential market doesn't justify all the monthly costs required to run a course?
Yeah, and that's luckily some of these softwares are free up until you reach a certain number of users or signups. So we'll talk about that all in the course. Basically, starting out, you can start a course pretty cheap, close to no money at all. And as you grow your following and as you grow your student base, the prices go up as well. So a lot of these softwares are smart enough to recognize that people aren't going to want to start out paying for something they can't justify. So don't worry about that. We'll talk about that more.
We also do talk about specifically when you're choosing your target demographic and your subject in your course, that can determine how much you can charge for that. And we go over that in depth too.
Right. Pricing is a huge part of that. So when building a webinar, guys, here's the nugget of knowledge. I want you guys to take some notes here. When building a webinar or in any marketing or advertising that you do for a product, there are 9 mental triggers as taught by Jeff Walker in the book, Launch an Internet Millionaire's Secret Formula to Selling Almost Anything Online. And the title of that book is actually, do you have the title of that book? Is actually pretty funny because it seemed way over ambitious when I first saw that. I'm like, really become a millionaire? But by applying his 9 mental triggers, I actually was able to become a millionaire. And so believe me, these actually do work. So listen up. The 9 mental triggers are, number 1, authority. As it applies to this webinar you're watching right now, I showed authority at the beginning by telling you that I make 7 figures a year selling online courses and that I'm in the top 1% of this industry. This tells my audience that I'm an authority on the subject and that what I'm about to teach can be trusted. Number 2 is reciprocity. Because of the free value I give away in my tutorials, do you have the, yeah, that guy. Because of the free value I give away, I've gotten hundreds of comments from people saying they feel like they owe me money after watching my YouTube videos. And they actually do end up buying my course eventually. And so it actually does end up working out. So that's reciprocity. Number 3 is trust. Like I mentioned, after spending a full hour listening to someone give you tons of free value, you start to trust them much more than you did before the webinar. Number 4 is anticipation. I started sending all of you guys emails about a week ago in anticipation for this launch day to get you excited about buying the course. And you guys have been saying, take my money, I'm ready. That's anticipation, getting them excited to buy something, right? Likability is number 5. Likability is number 5. Yeah, there we go. We enjoy buying things from people that we like, and by giving away a lot of free content and webinars, people tend to like you more. Number 6 is events. People generally love being a part of events, like right now. In this webinar chat, you see all the people chatting. It's fun, exciting to see everyone talking about the same thing. Apple does this, guys, amazing. They do keynote events. If you're an Apple fan, you know what I'm talking about. I watch those things religiously, and of course, they always end up selling me something by the end of the event. So events are huge. Community. We act in accordance to how we think other people in the community act. So when you see hundreds of people liking what I'm saying, you start to like it too. You feel like you're supposed to like it when other people do. Number 8 is scarcity. Where there is less of something, we want it more. By telling you there's only 100 coupon codes at 50% off, it creates scarcity, making you feel like you have to buy it now instead of later because you want to be one of the first 100 to get that sweet deal. And then number 9 is social proof. This is the idea that if you see others taking action, you will too. So when I open up the shopping cart here in a few minutes and you see everybody else buying, it gives you the confidence to do the same. And this is why customer reviews play such a huge part in our purchasing decisions, because we don't want to buy something until we see someone else buy it and like it. So there you have the 9 mental triggers. And when they're applied, guys, psychologically, they will make your customers more likely to buy your products. And funny enough, by sharing those 9 mental triggers with you right now and showing you how I've been using them on you, I've completely exposed myself. But in that, I've become 100% transparent in my selling tactics by using them on you right now. And hopefully by doing so, I've hit on a few mental triggers by gaining more trust because I'm being completely transparent, and being more likable because I'm being genuine and honest. So again, mental triggers huge to getting people to trust you enough to actually buy something from you. And I'd say that learning how to effectively market my course through webinars is the main reason I've been able to be so much more successful than other course creators. I've seen products that have great Facebook ads, that have a strong product, but few have built valuable and compelling webinars like I have. So we'll show you how to do that in the course. Many of you guys have watched my full-time filmmaker webinar, and I've had a lot of people claim that they've learned more in that free 1-hour training than they did in an entire semester at film school. And when you can provide that kind of value for people, they come flocking to your product. We talk about this in Full-Time Filmmaker. Add value first. The value always kicks back. And just FYI, this webinar you guys are watching right now, it's not the final webinar I'm going to be using to sell Course Creator Pro in the future. It's just a temporary version for this pre-sale. So rest assured, we will have a much better version, and we're going to show you how to create that better version to be able to sell this better. Now, our third and final pillar before we launch and get you guys in is the Facebook ad campaigns. You got to have a strong Facebook ad campaign. Facebook ads are the lifeblood of my business. It's what keeps new potential customers finding out about my product. I'm sure 90% of you found out about me originally through a Facebook or Instagram ad, or through YouTube ads or videos. And that's a huge part of getting people into that sales funnel, which eventually leads them to buy. I would say Facebook ads are probably the most powerful advertising tool available to any business, not just online courses. I've already shared with you guys the numbers that for every $1 I put into advertising, I on average get about $8 back in sales. That is an insane return on investment that you're not going to find in a lot of other advertising avenues. No other software or platform has access to billions of users that know your location, your age, your gender, and various interests based on what pages you've liked. So by using this data, you can target very specific audiences. Like within 20 miles of you, you can target people who are iPhone users, who are males between the ages of 24 and 35, who have liked the following 5 Facebook pages about filmmaking. So you can get very specific with your targeting, which allows you to make sure you're using your advertising money to its fullest. Again, super in-depth with talking about all this. Now, I will admit learning how to run Facebook ads is like learning a new language. It wasn't easy at all. I actually spent hundreds of dollars buying other online courses and thousands of dollars in trial and error before I figured out how to do it well. But I'm committed to teaching the subject better than any of those courses in a much simpler way so you guys can learn it quickly. But on top of just the actual running Facebook ad campaigns, we're also going to show you how to create effective Facebook ad videos and how to create good headlines and all that. And for those of you who already are selling products but are stuck in the 5-figure range, I'd say learning how to run effective Facebook ads is one of the biggest things you're missing out on that's keeping you from scaling to 6 or 7 figures. And by the way, when I say Facebook ads, I'm referring to both Facebook and Instagram. Facebook owns Instagram, right? So in fact, with my target demographic, I spend almost twice as much money on Instagram because most of my people spend more time there than Facebook. Also, just another nugget of advice, I wouldn't ever recommend running ads to generate likes or views or doing boosted posts. You should be running ad campaigns to capture email addresses and to sell products. The likes and views and followers, they will come automatically if you start collecting email addresses and selling products. For example, I didn't start running ads for Full-Time Filmmaker Instagram account until about a year into running the course. And in the first year, I generated about 5,000 followers. And as soon as I started Instagram ads, my following started growing like crazy and grew by 150,000 followers over the next 2 years. And all that growth was due simply to running ads on my Instagram account. So if your goal is to get views and followers, then run ads with the purpose of selling your product. And you'll not only make some money, but you will also grow a following simultaneously. So there you have it, guys. Those are my 3 pillars to successfully selling online courses. Hopefully you learned some new insights. And even if you don't end up joining the full course, this should at least give you a good outline to go off of and the things you should be focusing on. But if you guys do decide to build your own course and don't plan on joining Course Creator Pro, I wish you the best of luck because it was insanely hard. I had a mentor, guys, help me through it all. And even then, it was insanely hard. But that's kind of what we hope to do is Dakota and I are going to be mentors for you guys within Course Creator Pro to help walk you through that blueprint, those step-by-steps, and answer any questions when you get stuck. Speaking of blueprint, give you guys a quick idea of what the course includes before we launch it here. We got 5 categories: the creating, the hosting, the marketing, the advertising, and the scaling. The first 2, the creating and hosting, those are going to be integral to helping with that first pillar, which is getting you guys a strong product. The second one is going to be, the third one, marketing, is going to help you with that second pillar of getting a great webinar up and running. And just so you guys know, I've spent hundreds of dollars. They have courses out there available to just teaching you how to set up a webinar that costs $300 to $500. So though I'm biased, I think I'm going to teach it a lot better than those other courses. So I think this section alone, learning that, is going to be worth the price of joining. The 4th section focuses on helping build a strong third pillar by walking you step by step through an effective Facebook ad campaign. And again, I've purchased courses anywhere from $200 to $500 teaching Facebook ads. And they were super uninformative, and we're going to do a better job at teaching you that. And realistically, like I mentioned, the knowledge just in Facebook ads is worth thousands of dollars on its own. I know people who make 6 figures just running ad campaigns for businesses, helping them sell their products. And you guys, a lot of you guys have video skills. So combine your video skills with learning how to do Facebook ads and marketing. You're going to become a powerhouse. So and the last and 5th section focuses on growing and scaling your business as a whole. Understanding what I teach in this section is probably the biggest difference of what sets me apart from average course creators, is learning how to take a startup and turn it into a 7-figure business. And I'll continue adding to this section as I learn and grow my business. And I'll also be doing case studies that will show you how my students are succeeding, similar to the virtual job shadows that we do in the course.
James, when in the creating section, we do go over the equipment we recommend, not as in depth as Full-Time Filmmaker has been, but there are some specific techniques and stuff we do specifically for course creating. And
keep in mind, guys, whatever content isn't currently in the course, those who join are going to help us come up with the curriculum so we know what to add to make it beneficial for you. But like I mentioned, we're going to be doing case studies to show what other people are doing to be successful. For example, I've been testing out Course Creator Pro with one of my friends who teaches online piano lessons. And here's what he had to say about Course Creator Pro so far. He said, within the first month of switching my course to the platform Parker recommends and implementing the advertising and sales strategy he advocates, I more than doubled my course sales from $1,400 a month before I started the course to $3,800 a month after I started implementing his strategies. And to be honest, I've only implemented about half because there's so much to cover. Parker walks you through every step you need to take in order to not only make a much greater profit, but provide a much more satisfying experience for your customers. Thanks for all you do. That's Josh Wright. And as he mentioned, I haven't even been able to share with him half of the content so far. So there's still a lot we can do to help him grow his business. Now, the ultimate goal of Course Creator Pro, guys, help you guys grow your businesses based on your unique talents and skills and knowledge and enable you to make a living sharing those gifts with the world. A lot of you guys are already doing that with video production, but we're going to help you scale that to a much larger profit for you. Now, in general, the online course industry is just getting started. There's a lot of courses out there, I know, but comparatively to like traditional education, it's a brand new market. So there's never been a better time to get into it, guys. So hopefully you guys can become some of those pioneers and disruptors in this new era of education. Now, a couple bonuses to be aware of. On top of the training videos, all Course Creator Pro members will get access to our private Facebook group. You guys know what that's like. You guys have raved about the value of that, and I'm sure it'll be very valuable in this one as well. Another bonus will be available as virtual mentors, just like Full-Time Filmmaker, here to answer your questions, interact with you on the Facebook group. I know that even though we have great instructional videos, you guys are going to get stuck, I promise, and we're going to be here to help you get over those problems. And we'll be sharing those problems and solutions in the Facebook group as well. We'll also have various templates, presets, calculators to assist you in pricing your course, determining where your sales funnel is struggling, in creating your videos, and in running your business. And we'll also be providing discounts. Currently, we've only worked out a couple with Teachable and Webinar Jam to help you save $100 off each up front. And for those who aren't Full-Time Filmmaker members, we also allow you to get the Adobe Creative Cloud for student discount, saving you $360 a year. So between those three savings, the cost of joining will pay for itself in the first year alone. And hopefully we'll be adding more discounts in the months and years to come. So a lot of great value inside Course Creator Pro, and we're just getting started, guys. Keep in mind, this course isn't finished yet. The first 25 video tutorials are ready for consumption upon purchase, and we hope to double that amount of videos within the next few months. And we will plan on consistently updating that content to expand it to hundreds of tutorials, just like Full-Time Filmmaker. But our goal in pre-selling it today is to get a group of you guys in the course to start testing out the current curriculum and helping us shape the rest of the curriculum based on your questions and your unique challenges. That way we can make sure that the course is catered specifically to your guys' needs. So basically, if you join today, you get twice as much mentoring for half the price. Now the price. So as far as pricing goes, guys, we aren't sure yet if we're going to make this a lifetime membership or a yearly membership. But for the first 100 who sign up today, we will do a lifetime membership. And even if we change that to a yearly membership down the road, we'll make sure all of you guys are grandfathered into the lifetime membership, since most of you are my loyal Full-Time Filmmaker members anyway. So that's one of the biggest benefits of joining now instead of later, is you'll know for sure you're in for life and at half the price that you would be getting later. So pricing, here we go. I personally feel that this course is valued anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 based on all the information we're giving. And once we see how much mentoring this actually takes, we may bump it up to that price eventually. But starting out, Course Creator Pro will sell for $997 as a regular price. And as mentioned, for the first 100 that join, we'll be offering a 50% off discount, so you can join for just $497. Now, guys, I know that that's still steep, still a big price for some of you, but please, just like Full-Time Filmmaker, look at this as an investment. You are investing in education that could potentially increase your business by tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars over the following years. I'm not promising that kind of growth, but I've already been able to help some of my friends who run courses make tens of thousands of dollars more than they would have without my help. So I'm not over exaggerating when I give you those incremental number growths. And that's why a lot of marketing gurus can charge upwards of $30,000. Russell Brunson, he owns ClickFunnels. He charges $30,000 to be mentored by him. So there's a lot of programs out there that we're going to be teaching similar stuff to that cost way more than this. So I promise the value's there. But there you have it, guys. That's the price. That's the offer. And let's start the, what do you guys say we start the pre-sale? You guys ready for this? You guys ready for this? All right. So I'm going to send out an email real quick that will give you guys the link to join. And once we've sent that out, we'll pull it up on your screen here as well. So you have two options to buy it in case the button doesn't work or something. So let's go ahead and make this live. All right, email is going out. And go ahead and start the offer, Doug. Publish. All right, so it should pop up in your screen here in the next few seconds. So look for that offer. 3, 2, 1, and you should see the offer on your screen. Go ahead and get signed up, guys. First 100 to join will get in for 50% off. Get checked out, and while you guys are getting checked out, we will stick around to answer any questions. So go ahead, guys, type in your questions now in the chat box, and we'll try and get to as many of them as we can, and we'll stick around as long as you need us to. So there you have it. Let me send out this real quick. I'm actually going to send it out to the Full-Time Filmmakers as well. You might be getting that email twice. Disregard if you get it again from Full-Time Filmmaker. All right, guys. Questions. So if you guys are in Europe, you guys probably know this from Full-Time Filmmaker, but VAT taxes do apply. I'm sorry, it's not me, it's Europe. So if the price reflects something different than $500, it's probably because it's adding your VAT taxes to your corresponding European country. I'm sorry. Come live in the US. We don't have VAT taxes. No, just kidding. Ben, if you're not satisfied, dude, I don't want anybody giving me your money if you're not satisfied. But like I mentioned, the course isn't done yet. And so it's going to take a few months to even know if you're satisfied. Stick around. I promise within 3 to 4 months, you're all going to be satisfied. I can almost guarantee that. And if you're not, I don't want your money.
And initially, Parker has said it, but people are still asking. We have the first 2 sections done out of 5 right now. And over the next couple months, we're going to be finishing all that content. But by the time you guys finish the first 2 sections and actually implement those things, we're going to be done with the rest.
Right. I'm pretty much done with the other 3 sections. I'm just working out some kinks. I've been testing it out on other people and making sure it's optimal for you guys. And once the first 100 join, we're going to be using you guys to help me shape that and make sure that those tutorials cover everything you want. So again, it's going to be more beneficial that they're not done because we'll be able to cater it to you specifically.
Yeah, Mo, and if you are specifically wanting the marketing section of the course, like we said, by joining now, you essentially get us as much more involved mentors because we're going to be asking you specifically, what questions do you have? What problems do you have? And we actually design the content around that, which is why we're actually doing this early. We're not trying to get quick money or because we're lazy. We want you guys to be the ones who build the content. So we teach you exactly what you want.
You guys already know from Full-Time Filmmaker, the way I roll is I'm all about over delivering. When I first launched Full-Time Filmmaker, we had 40 videos. It's now over 200 videos 3 years later. So I'm all about continuing that content and catering to every possible need I can with my given time. So yeah, and just so you guys know, Full-Time Filmmaker, I'm still going to be making tutorials for that and for this. Dakota's going to be heading Course Creator Pro, making sure content stays up to date here. I'll stay on top of Full-Time Filmmaker. They're both going to keep driving content. So,
and it sounds like we're having issues with the CCP private Facebook page. It's going to Full-Time Filmmaker.
Don't worry about the Facebook group for now, guys. We'll get in there and give you the right link. We're going to send out an email to the original people that joined today and just let you know, hey, here's how to get in the Facebook group and all that. So hold tight on that. Scott Williams, you're in, man. Good to have you, dude.
All right, we got
Ingrid, good to have you.
we got some questions here.
Hirosato Yoshida, my man, good to have you.
Paul says, Parker, do you ever think creating an online course could get to the point of a house market crash? Imagine 5 to 10 years from now, how crazy would this internet marketing will be?
I don't understand the question.
I guess he's comparing it to the housing market crash. If
Saying that the online course market could crash?
could that happen with the
Anything could crash. I would say education is one of the safest things to build a business in. As you've seen, everybody in the world needs education. They need skill sets in order to make a living. And so I'm biased, but I don't think there will ever be a significant crash. I think it could be disrupted by something else. But by then, hopefully, we've become disruptors in whatever's disrupting our current industry. And that's kind of the whole point of being an entrepreneur and being a disruptor is you're always looking for the next thing. And so I hope to disrupt my own industry of course creating with whatever's next. So as long as you guys can ride the next wave and be on top of things, the problem is when you get lazy and complacent and think my business is successful enough, I'm good enough, I'm just going to chill here in my throne. Don't do that, guys. I mean, you see advertisements all the time from marketing gurus that are sitting on a beach or standing next to their Lamborghini. That's BS. Anybody who's successful, they're not sitting on a beach. They're not chilling in their cars and driving around fancy neighborhoods all day long. They're working their butts off. And if you guys want to be successful and stay successful, you got to keep working.
Yes, Chaz, first 2 sections are going to be included. And the other exciting thing about the education industry specifically is that it's widely regarded as broken. People are always complaining about their degrees and everything they get. And it's because the system's broken, which is a huge opportunity for you and us to then disrupt that market, like Parker was saying.
Well, you have payment plans on the full price. In the future, yes, for this launch, we're just doing the upfront $500. In the future, yes, we will have payment plans similar to full-time filmmakers, 6-month plans that will be slightly more expensive than just the upfront cost.
Another good question by Zhao Q. Do we need to work with an influencer to become an authority? You mentioned that you worked with Devin Supertramp that gave huge credibility. What if we haven't worked with other influencers? How do we create more authority in the space?
That is a part of my authority. I originally, when I made my Facebook ads, I based it around Devin Supertramp. I said, I used to work for Devin Supertramp. If you notice my ads now, I don't talk about him at all. I've become my own authority now. I would say it helps, but like I said, it got me my initial following and maybe my initial ads helped me out. But I'd say over half the people who are currently joining Full-Time Filmmaker today have never heard of Devin Supertramp, had no idea I ever worked for him. So it does help, guys, but you can be just as successful, maybe not just, you can still be very successful without having a following, without being attached to any big influencers. And we'll talk about in the course how to get connected to some influencers and how to utilize, build relationships to utilize some other people's followings to create traction and traffic for your course. But again, not necessary.
And to feed off that question, someone asked, how do you build an initial following?
The initial following, I think it was Davis that asked that. The initial following for my YouTube channel was built pretty heavily from Devin Supertramp. My first 10,000 subscribers, I think, came from Devin Supertramp. But once I quit working for him, I was getting maybe 3 subscribers a day. So it wasn't like I was growing very fast or that I had any real traction in the YouTube world. It wasn't until I released my Red versus iPhone video that that video got picked up by a bunch of sites like Petapixel and Mashable and No Film School. And when all of them posted about it, it brought a ton of traffic to my site. I think I doubled my subscriber base from 10,000 to 20,000 in a week versus I made 10,000 subscribers in my first 3 years. So it was just one really good piece of content that pushed my channel. And then from then, after I got that next 10,000, it grew by probably 50 subscribers a day. And then now it's up to I'm getting about 1,000 subscribers a day now. And it's all about creating engaging content. We'll talk about this in the course as well, of the balance of putting out free content on YouTube to promote and push your paid content in the course.
Sorry if the audio is cutting out for you guys. Get on the Facebook page, ask questions. You can always email us at, support@coursecreatorpro.com.
Go ahead and type it in, support@coursecreatorpro.com if you guys have any questions. And we'll make sure to get all of those that we don't get here. And
And there is a big question that's going around, and we do talk about it in the course, but they're asking why we use Teachable over Udemy and those other options.
We talk about this in the course as well. One video specifically talks about how Teachable compares to other platforms. Udemy specifically, they take 50% of your profits. So they are your marketplace, and they go out and sell your course for you. You can do your own marketing as well. But because they're claiming to do marketing for you, which I don't know how much they actually do, they take 50% of your profits. So it's like having a business partner that takes half your money, but you don't know if they're actually going to do their part. And so that's why I like using Teachable. You have complete control. They don't take any percentages. They charge you $100 a month, but that's a much smaller price than half of your profits, unless you're only making $200 a month. So yeah, I would recommend Teachable. All the reasons: they have a great mobile iOS app that makes it easy for people to download for offline viewing. Most people are on mobile phones these days watching content, so that's something they have that others don't. A bunch of reasons. Again, we'll cover that in depth, but biggest thing to look out for when deciding what course hosting site to use is I wouldn't recommend ever being on a plan or a platform that takes significant percentages of your profits. And there's options out there for 50%, for 20%, for 10%, or 5%. Don't give them any percent. Pay them their monthly fee and then let all the money go to you.
So basically we use Teachable because the other guys take too much money from you, and we're teaching you how to keep the most money in your own pockets.
Right.
Liam, yes, we do go over the structure. The structure of your content is the meat of your product. If that's not good, if that's not standing out,
then you're talking too loud.
Oh, am I talking too loud?
Maybe. It seems loud.
If that doesn't stand out, then people aren't going to buy the product. So we go very in depth on how we structure content and how we edit it and make it engaging and as efficient as possible.
Chaz says, will you separate them eventually? Yes, I would probably say by next spring or summer, I will have enough content in each of the sections to create their own mini courses. So the marketing or the webinar course will be its own thing. I'll probably sell it for $300 to $400. And the Facebook ad will be its own course eventually next summer, be $300 or $400, which is about the price you'd pay right now for all of it. So that's why this is a really good deal right now. But yes, eventually we will be selling these individually as their own mini courses once there's enough content in there, but you're not going to get nearly as much content for a similar price.
And Dave Q asks, I already have 6 hours of video content as a marathon running coach. Will this course be useful?
That's not something you should ask me because I'm not a marathon runner. I'm not your target demographic. Go find some Facebook pages, some groups somewhere where there are people interested in that, and start asking them and say, hey, here's what I teach. Who's interested in this stuff? Or ask questions on those Facebook pages. To get to start building my Course Creator Pro email list, I initially went to Teachable's Facebook group and I started answering people's questions on there. People on Teachable's Facebook group were asking, I'm having trouble marketing my course. And so I'd go and say, hey, having trouble? Check out my new course that's coming out. Go sign up for my emailing list. I gained 100 subscribers to my email list before I even told any of you guys about it, just by going and commenting on Facebook pages that were interested in the product I was going to be delivering. And so that's a huge way to just test the market, go do some market research, find Facebook groups, forums of people interested in your topic, start asking them questions of what they're interested in, and that will give you an idea of not only what they want to hear about, but how much they'd be willing to pay for it.
Chetan, there is a 30-day return satisfaction guarantee, but like we said before, the entire course is not released right now. This is the pre-sale, the beta, and Burns asked us why would I buy a course that isn't completed? Very good question. We discussed this a few times already. We are going to use you to complete the course. The course is pretty much completed on my end as far as knowledge in my head. I just want to utilize you guys and your questions to say, hey, I want to make sure you
cover this when you talk about this. And then the next day I'll pump out a tutorial covering that, but making sure that it covers what you specifically want. And again, if you guys apply what I teach in the first 2 sections, it should take you at least a month to maybe 3 months to actually build the course. That's the first pillar, right? Build a strong product. If you build it strong enough, it should take a month or 2 to actually build that. And by the time you've built it and are ready to market and sell it, we will have the other sections completed. The real question is, Adam Grumbo, my man, why do people buy the course and never use it? Adam, I've been asking the same question, man. People,
It works.
People love education, but not everybody loves to work. Not everybody loves to actually go out and do something about it. And that's why I can't guarantee your guys' success. I can tell you that if you do what I tell you, you will be successful to some degree, but I can't guarantee you're going to work and do anything about what I teach you. And so as Adam Grumbo pointed out, you guys don't just go watch the videos for entertainment. Apply everything I teach, and it's going to change your business.
I like Joe's question. Is there enough marketing information in this course to use your strategies and charge clients for marketing methods in addition to video services?
Absolutely. And that's something that all of you that have video skills, this is going to be a great supplementary skill. In fact, I would say video skills are supplementary to this skill of learning how to market and advertise. I would say video skills is the junior companion to being a great marketer and advertiser. So if you guys can learn these skills, your video skills are going to become much more valuable, because you're going to be able to sell packages to people and say, hey, not only can I make a great video production for you, but I'm an expert in Facebook ads. And so I'm going to show you what the video production should be like. It should be 1 minute long. It should be a square format. We should cover these things. It should only be 1 minute long so we can put it on Instagram. So you're going to tell your clients how the video production should be, and then be able to run a campaign for them and say, you know what, you're going to pay me $3,000 up front to make the video, and then you're going to pay me 20% of your sales for every sale I bring you, because I'm going to be running your whole campaign. So there's a lot of opportunities in there for you to partner up with businesses more than just be a production house, and actually be a full functioning, not full functioning, but pretty well full functioning ad agency or marketing agency to help supplement your video skills.
How strong is the Spanish language market?
Uziel Nunez, Spanish language market isn't as strong as English. I would obviously say English is the strongest market. We've been selling our course in Portuguese only, and it's been selling pretty well. I'll be sharing with you guys specifically which demographics sell the best. US obviously sells the best. Probably 60% of my sales come from the US, maybe 50%. Probably 20 to 30% come from Europe. So Europe's a great market as far as English speaking goes, because not most, but a lot of people in Europe speak English. South America is on the lower end. There's probably only 5% of my sales come from South America, which is predominantly Spanish speaking. So there is a market there. It is a smaller market. I'd say Canada, Europe is probably 10%, maybe 15% of my sales. So, and then Asia, Middle East, that area is probably another 5-10%. So there are markets around the world, and I've experimented in pretty much every country in the world. And I'd say Africa is probably my worst market, specifically for full-time filmmaker. South America, probably second worst. US is number 1. Europe, number 2. Canada, Australia, number 3. Asia, number 4. So that kind of gives you an idea of strengths in market as far as my product goes.
Dustin wants to know, how much do you pay in taxes from selling a course?
So the VAT taxes are automatically taken out. So anyone who's doing European sales, those VAT taxes are automatically charged. You don't ever touch them. And as far as taxes go, I mean, it's just whatever country or state you're living in. I'm in the highest tax bracket. So if you are making 7 figures here, I think the highest tax bracket is $400,000. So if you're over $400,000 in income, then you're going to be paying about 35 to 40% in taxes to sweet Uncle Sam, and then whatever your state taxes are. So Adam Grumbo in Texas, lucky for you. Your state taxes are wonderful there. Utah, not as great. But that's why it's important to learn how to expense your courses, learn how to spend money wisely so that you're not paying Uncle Sam all of your extra cash, but you can reduce how much taxes you end up spending at the end of the year by utilizing some of these tax secrets. Well, I wouldn't call them secrets, but some tax tips that we'll talk about in the course as well. Just to give you a rough idea, I paid about $250,000 last year in taxes, and this year I'll probably pay $300,000 to $400,000 in taxes. So a lot of your money will go to taxes, but that should mean you're making a lot of money too, right?
And Hunter said, I haven't yet proofed my product. Will this help me do so with market research?
100%. And hopefully the Facebook group as well, is helping us proof each other's products. So by posting in the group saying, hey guys, I have this idea, what do you guys think? And get a ton of feedback from the group itself saying, yeah, that looks like a good product. I would buy that. I wouldn't buy that. But also we'll be teaching you some tactics on how to proof your products for sure. Can you send us Germans an invoice with tax on the bill? Walter, just shoot me an email. Support@Course Creator Pro if you guys have any specific personal requests. And Julian, does the course cover the payment channel that you use? Yes. So we use Stripe and PayPal. Stripe does credit card transactions. PayPal, you guys know what PayPal is. Teachable actually has Stripe built in, which is really nice because with Thinkific, I had to build my own Stripe account, and you have to learn how to manage that. So that's another reason why I like Teachable is they have an in-house Paygate that does it all for you, which makes it super easy. They manage all the payments. But yeah, we teach all that.
Yeah, guys, we know the link is going to the Facebook or the Full-Time Filmmaker group. We'll blast out an email with the correct URL in a minute.
Sorry, guys, I put the wrong link in there. I actually copy and pasted a lot of the same material from Full-Time Filmmaker to Course Creator Pro and just forgot to swap out that link. Mark, did I make the first 100? If you got the discount, you made it. Can you give us access to FTW Course 2? What's that?
Probably Full-Time Filmmaker.
Full-Time Walbeck? Full-Time Walbeck? Awesome, Walter. Let's see. Do you offer consulting services if I flew to Utah? Brenton, again, personal question. We don't know yet what what Course Creator Pro is going to be, how it's going to function. And so you first 100 are going to help us determine how this mentoring works, how in-depth the mentoring is needed, and all that fun stuff.
Your best bet is to take advantage of it now while we have fewer students, because that's when you'll get the most time.
Right. Thanks for coming, Ricardo. Good to have you. That's Full-Time Filmmaker. So you want access to Full-Time Filmmaker. I'm not even sure what that means either. If you buy this course, you don't have access to the Full-Time Filmmaker course. They're separate courses. So if you want to join that course and you're not part of it, just shoot me an email. When are you coming to India? I hope soon because Indian food's actually my favorite food. I go there weekly and I love the Indian people. So I hope to come there soon.
This is
dude, good to see you, Andy.
This is actually another really good question. Because some of you won't actually have a skill or an expert skill that you can market and sell, but that doesn't mean this is not going to work for you. So Lee asks, what do you think is a fair percentage to charge experts to help them create their course?
A fair percentage to charge experts to help them create their course. I think that just completely depends. Off the top of my head, I would say 50-50. I actually reached out to Chris Burkard shortly after launching Full-Time Filmmaker. Chris Burkard has like 3 million followers on Instagram. And I said, dude, I noticed you've done courses with Creative Live, but I know Creative Live is taking like 80% of that revenue. And it's probably not selling that well, especially because you're selling it for $100 and you really don't say anything that important in that course. I said, let me create a real course for you and we'll split it 50-50 or something. And he was down for it. We just never had time to connect and actually do it. I've been doing, other things, but that's an example of me reaching out to Chris Burkard and saying, dude, let me come film you for, a few weeks and just have you share all of your insights and what you do. And we can sell a course together. And all you have to do is let me film you and talk to the camera here and there. And then I'll take charge of doing all the selling and advertising, and I'll just kick you 50% of the profits. And so you just get money for free. just negotiate that. You might be able to get more, might be less, depending on the person you're dealing with. I haven't personally done it yet, but I've been in conversations about it.
I like Autumn's question here. Say, I am a tattooer and I make hands-on workshops with tattoo masters. I pay $1,500 for a 2-day
Go big
hands-on
screen.
workshop. 1 second.
Now you can see
Hey,
our
what
pretty
happened?
faces. All right, keep going. Sorry.
Sorry, let me start. I am a tattooer and I take hands-on workshops with tattoo masters. I pay $1,500 for a 2-day hands-on workshop. Do you think I could record these and sell them online for the same price?
What do you think, Duke?
So if this is their content, no, you don't. You can't just copy and resell their stuff. If you were to redesign the content in your own style, in your own words, using our structure, then you can resell that if it's your content. As far as the pricing, we do go into that in the course and deciding, okay, how much are people willing to pay for this? Because it's not really a hands-on; it's a little bit separate. But there's definitely a market for that.
RJ says we came for Parker, but staying for Dakota. That is so true, man.
RJ, miss RJ.
Who's the older brother? Guess.
Ooh.
I'm the older brother. I'm like 3 years older.
Just,
He's a little bigger, but I'm more mature.
try. Can I have
Use for this course, even if I'm not making courses myself, just doing video? Absolutely. Like we mentioned, having marketing and advertising skills alongside video skills is going to be super beneficial in your approach to working with clients and allowing you to charge more for more services beyond just creating videos. So absolutely.
I'm pretty sure were we planning on doing a full-time filmmaker discount from
Yes.
CCP students?
If you guys are joining Course Creator Pro today, but aren't members of Full-Time Filmmaker, we will provide a discount for you guys to join Full-Time Filmmaker. So yeah, we'll provide that in the next day or two. Make sure that's in there for you. Welcome, Chris. Good to have you. Have you collaborated in that audio guy course, Parker? Is relation course with this one and FTF. So yeah, Brendan is one of the people I've been experimenting with to make sure what I teach works. His course is harder to sell. His market is harder to sell to. It's audio stuff. It's not as popular and exciting as filmmaking and video. But I blasted out to my email list of like 200,000 people Brendo's course. I said, hey, check out my buddy's course. He teaches audio in depth, more so than I do, and so it'd be beneficial to you. He made, I think, $20,000 in a week just from me sending out an email to people about his course. So yeah, we have worked together. And normally what you would do if you're in my position is you would become an affiliate and say, give me a specific code, and everyone who buys that with my code, I'll get a percentage of. And that way you can make money as an affiliate for other courses you promote. I personally was just doing a favor for a friend, so I didn't take any percentage of that. He just was able to take all of it. But that's also another great way. Once you start building a following and building an email list of people interested in your product, you can start promoting other products that are similar to it and become affiliates for those and make percentages off of other people's stuff as well.
Jose Nunez has another good question. How many followers do I need in Facebook to start my own course?
0. Go look at Course Creator Pro. We don't have a follower. I think me and Dakota are the only followers. And we'll get 100 of you guys to sign up today, even though we don't have any followers yet. And we're going to show you how we build those followings because they're starting at 0. Both Instagram and Facebook are going to start at 0. And so we're going to show you some tactics on how to start building those from the ground. But I would say within a short amount of time of launching your course, you'd want to get up to around 1,000 just to show some kind of authority and social proof that, hey, people follow this guy and he's cool. But when you start running ads and you have some good content on your pages, people will automatically start following you, and that will just grow automatically.
Dustin, we'll probably go over negotiating deals if you are working with experts. But he asks 50% royalty or when sales reach X amount.
Yeah, that's It's a good question. I think it completely depends on what you're doing, and we'll talk about that more in depth, Dustin. We haven't thought about that a ton yet. There's a lot of ways to do it, and because we haven't done it much, we don't know the best answer. There's just pros and cons.
And I think a lot of it comes down to kind of the opportunity of it. If it's somebody who already has a great big following built in, then some of your work's already done, so you can charge less, or it's just all very situational.
Mo asks, do you answer questions? Do you answer your emails if we reach out to you in the future after the course? Ask any of my full-time filmmaker members. We answer all your questions. We try to get to your questions within 24 hours. We're probably 99% good at that. Sometimes you have a tough question that requires more time to get those answers. But yeah, the goal is to answer all of your questions within 24 hours of emailing us. So that's one thing we really pride ourselves on is our customer service. And that's one thing that's really important to having a successful course is learning how to be on top of customer service. I'm kind of OCD. And if I have an email sitting here, I want to answer it and get it done and get it off my plate. But it makes for really content customers when you can stay on top of that stuff.
Christopher asks, have you been asked to help business-to-business companies with the type of strategies you teach in this course?
Yes. I get hit up weekly from people wanting me to help them build their businesses. I mean, not even course related, just people wanting me to help them brand their companies, advertise, do marketing. They don't even, that's why I'm saying these skills are so valuable. I could land over 1,000 jobs with 1,000 different companies that constantly hit me up because they like what I'm doing with my business and want me to replicate it in theirs. And so many opportunities, guys, to utilize these skills beyond just course creation, to I guess further your income and what you can do with your careers. Let's see, I signed up with a different email. We'll get you taken care of, Ben. Just shoot us an email. What's the full scale of your team? How many people do you start with when making FTF course? I started out by myself with FTF for probably the first year. It was just me. And then I brought on like family members to help out with customer service and this and that, you know, answering questions on Facebook ads and Facebook DMs and all that. Currently, about 3 years in, it's me, Jake Weisler, my brother Stockton, my sister-in-law Lauren. So we're a team of 4 right now with Full-Time Filmmaker. And Course Creator Pro are starting out as 2, just because I won't have time to be fully in this because I'm also running Full-Time Filmmaker. So I'll be kind of split between the 2. So yeah, we're starting out with 2 with us. And I mean, honestly, I could keep running Full-Time Filmmaker by myself. I don't need Jake, but Jake helped me pretty much double my sales within a few months from hiring him on. And we'll talk about how to manage employees, how to utilize them well, how to incentivize them, how to scale basically. But adding employees was a huge part to helping me scale. From when I brought Jake on, it was like 7 months ago. I brought him on. I was doing about $100,000 a month in revenue. Within 3 months of bringing him on, he helped fill in all these gaps, help me run things better, help, you know, dive into Facebook ads more. And we've scaled to this month, we'll do about $300,000 in revenue. So within 6-7 months, just by adding some employees, I've been able to triple my income. So, and that's one thing that I've been in businesses in the past where I've been an employee wanting to help the management scale and say, hey, I bring this type of value. If you incentivize me with this, I'm going to help you double. And they said, nah, I'd rather do it myself. So I quit and I'm doing it myself now. So I would say I have some business skills that a lot of people don't. Most creatives or artists lack some business skills. And so hopefully we can help teach you that so you can scale your businesses.
Ben says he'd like to know my story. We'll go over it sometime, but I work with Parker. So when Parker started with Supertramp, he hired one other guy and then hired me. So I worked with Supertramp, and then I've basically just been mentored by Parker for the last 4 or 5 years in different things. I worked at a sales company doing marketing, but I'll give you some more details some other time. I'm a photographer. I am starting to do video. Will this be useful to me?
You're a photographer. Oh, I didn't see it. Photographer. I'm starting to do video. Oh, of course. Photography is actually a big part of course creation too. We take a lot of photos. I mean, the cover photo of our course is me with a microphone. You know, I took a photo. So photo and video go hand in hand in creating marketing material. You guys can run photo ads. So if you're a great photographer, that's going to benefit you in creating compelling photo ads. I would say video ads are more compelling. So I think it's wise that you're delving into video as well. But photographers can use this, you know, these marketing and sell and advertising strategies just as much as filmmakers can. If I create a filmmaking course, is that okay with you? It is, Vince. And that's something that hopefully gives you guys some, gain some trust in me, is I 100% support all of you creating your own filmmaking courses. I would just ask that you don't copy it verbatim, that you don't just take my material and then just read off this exact same script and put in this, you know, but create something that's unique to you. You guys all have skills that I don't. Some of you are better color correctors. Some of you are better at sound design. Some of you, I'm pretty good at all of it as a whole, but I know I know that almost all of you are better at one aspect of filmmaking than me. So create a course on it, you know, and I've encouraged anybody and everybody to create courses, including people who are creating competing products with me, because I believe that anybody and everybody can compete in this space. There's already hundreds of filmmaking courses already competing in this space. So if I've been able to be this successful with hundreds of courses already out there, why couldn't I continue being successful with all of you making your own courses? It will be a little bit of competition. I might lose a little bit of sales to some of you guys making products that specialize in certain things, but I would guess 5 or 10% decrease. If all of you guys built filmmaking courses, you would all still be able to be successful, and I'd have a slight decrease. And to me, that's worth it, to be able to provide all of you guys with amazing jobs that you love and be able to increase your income. So
I like this question from Kasim. I've started doing video. I do photography. Should I become better myself first before I buy this?
So that's no, not before you buy it. I think you should buy it and utilize this to help you become better. So here's one thing that I talk about, I think in the second video that I sent out to you guys in the emails. When you start creating a course, when you start teaching somebody how to do something, you automatically start getting better at your own skills. I told you guys when I started making Full-Time Filmmaker, I felt like I was at maybe a level 7 in my expertise. Right now, I'd say I'm more like a 9 in expertise. And I feel like I've had that growth in my ability, in my skill set, and in my expertise simply by having to teach it. I didn't know a thing about lighting when I launched Full-Time Filmmaker. I just taught what I already knew, and I didn't know much about lighting. And so I spent the next 2 years studying lighting in depth, buying all kinds of courses. And then I created tutorials on lighting based off of what I was learning, because I had to learn it in order to teach it better. And so building a course, running a course, having to educate other people forces you to learn things that maybe you don't want to learn about, but now you have to learn about it because you got to teach it. And so I would say this is an amazing way for you to grow at your own skills and your own business, is by pushing yourself to educate other people. And in so doing, you're going to have to learn better your own art in order to teach it. So it's an amazing trade-off. Not only are you making money by selling what you know, but you're learning a lot more because you're being pushed by your students to be teaching more than what you know. And nobody knows everything. So to say that you have to know everything to even start, it's stupid. No one, everyone who's teaching something doesn't know everything, and they're always learning as well. And if you're not always learning, then what are you doing? You should always be learning and growing. Great question. How do you answer so many emails? Well, Zach, I tell you guys, please ask your questions to the Facebook group first. And this is something I actually teach in the course. To limit the amount of customer service you get, create a community, create a Facebook group, direct all people's questions to that group. Say, please ask your questions to the Facebook group first. 90% of them will be answered by everybody else. And then if your questions aren't answered in the Facebook group, then shoot me an email. Or if it's something personal, then shoot me an email. So I probably get 20 to 40 emails a day that take maybe an hour or two to answer. And I have teams helping me with questions that are routine, that, you know, the answers they're pretty simple and that anyone can answer. And then the more complex ones, I'll personally get in there and answer. But the point is, Customer service can be highly alleviated by starting a Facebook page and Facebook group and getting your community involved. And we'll talk about how to get your community involved so they actually care to engage with one another. And then on the email side, again, we'll talk about how to employ people to help with that. But I was answering all of my own emails for the first 2 years, and I could handle it fine. An hour or two a day is all it would take. But I mean, that's what people are paying you for. They're paying you for your answers, and so you'll make great money from people buying the course. But the way you're going to give value is not only the material you've given, but give them customer support.
Chris Moser has a good question. So I work in a business-to-business marketing, and it's different from business to customer. Have you worked with companies that are more business-to-business and not specifically business-to-customer? So I guess it's more of, can the stuff we teach in this business-to-customer be applied to business?
100%. So this is kind of a mix. What we do is kind of a mix, and that's why it's unique. This right now is business to customer, but I'm encouraging you guys to build a business, right? And so the pitch is, you're a customer, but you should be starting a business. And so I would say that's probably the most lucrative spot to be in when you guys are making your products. Targeting businesses as a whole, it's hard to target them like with Facebook ads, but targeting individuals, customers, you have access to billions of them on Facebook and Instagram. And so I would recommend targeting business to customer, but convincing people that they should start their own businesses, and then giving them a course to do so. And you can charge a good price for that if you're promising and telling them you're going to be able to start a profitable business by doing what we're doing. So it's kind of a mix. And yes, I have worked with both, helping business to business and business to customer. I've worked with courses who are mostly business to customer. Those are harder to sell because people don't see an immediate investment when they're not building their own business. And business to business is harder to target because you can't target individuals as easily through Facebook and Instagram advertising. So I would kind of mesh the two if I were you. I think that's the most lucrative position to be in. I assume you can't run a Facebook ad from a private account. I believe you can, Eric. I think you just have to change your. Actually, I think what people usually do is, because there's a lot of marketers that run ads as themselves, I think you just have to create a business account as your name, but it can be your name, but it has to be a business Facebook account in order for it to run ads. And yeah, we'll teach you how to open up a Facebook ad account and all that. Where does your income come from besides FTF sales? This is another thing I'm excited to teach you guys about. Not just course sales. Course sales is probably 95% of my income. It's by far the biggest portion, but obviously I also do client-based video work, which I've mostly left behind. I only do bigger projects now when it's like Hyundai or LG or something. But also affiliate marketing. I make about $4,000, probably about $5,000 a month just from affiliate marketing. So my kit.com page that I always lead you guys to, I say, hey, if you guys want to see the products I use, go to kit.com and check out all the links to where you can buy what I use. Make about $5,000 a month just from that. So we'll show you how to set all that up and make multiple sources of revenue that your course creating, your course sales can help sell other things as well. And Amazon, I think it gives you 4% commissions on stuff you refer to them, which means I'm driving in about $100,000 in sales to Amazon every month, and I get 4% of that, $4,000 or $5,000. Other sources of revenue, stock footage, and actually Stockton, my brother and I are working on a new course teaching how to sell stock footage better. I haven't been great at that. I do sell stock footage, but I haven't been very proactive, and we're now being proactive, and we're going to, assuming we become very successful at it, we're going to have a course on that as well. Other sources of income, those are the main ones. AdSense is one. So on YouTube, I make about $2,000 a month from the ads that I put over top of my videos. But some of my YouTube videos I don't even have ads running on because I'd rather people watch the video and not be deterred by the ad, because in the video I'm selling my course. And so I'd rather them watch the video and be sold on that rather than get, 3 cents on a view, on an ad view. So, but that is one source of income as well. And we'll talk about all these in the course and show you how to set up all these different avenues as well.
Dustin wants to know, do you pay all your employees sales percentages or salaries?
Both. I would say, yeah, it depends on the progress of the course. Starting out, I would just pay people a monthly salary. I found that wasn't nearly as motivating because they're like, who cares if I'm helping the business progress? I'm going to get paid either way. So I first started doing it with Jake Weisler. I started paying him a percentage, and we'll talk about this and all, how to incentivize and manage employees. I probably failed at really incentivizing and managing my employees the first year or so. Not that I was terrible at it, but I've learned a lot of things, and I've started paying percentages of sales based on the value that I feel those employees bring. And I found that keeps them a lot more motivated and really caring about the success of the course and helping it scale and grow, because the more money the course makes, the more money they make. You'll end up paying your employees more for this, but hopefully they're helping your course grow and scale much faster because of doing that. And I told this to past employers. I'm like, would you rather make, when I work for someone else, would you rather make $1 million and own 100% of that? Or would you rather make $2 million and own 80% of that and give me 20%? And they couldn't see that. They're like, I'd rather just have 100% of $1 million. I'm like, but if you had 80% of 2 million, you'd make 1.6 million. Does that not make more sense? And so that's kind of the mindset you have to have, is by bringing on people, giving them percentages of what you're doing, it ideally and hopefully will help you scale to a new level, making you more money and helping them be more incentivized to make money as well.
I don't know if you already answered this or not, but Byron asks, mind if I ask, how do you manage your time as a full-time self-employed business?
That is a wonderful question.
Great question.
And we'll cover this super in depth. Time management, I think, is one of the things I do really well. That is another big thing that separates me from so many other people and has helped me be so successful in business. I think a lot of people do not use their time wisely. I work my flipping tail off every single day. My eyes hurt because I've been looking at a computer screen for 10 hours a day. I forego even physical health sometimes. You shouldn't do that, but I do because I'm so into what I'm doing and wanting to use every second of every day to do productive things. I don't like watching TV unless it's a Jazz game. Got to watch my Jazz. And, I'm just constantly being productive. It's my Japanese trait. We're Japanese monsters. We just are efficiency monsters. We love making every second of every day count and be productive and be meaningful and be going towards something. And we'll talk about that more in depth, about how to manage your time, be productive, be effective. I would say that I can do in a day what most people can do in a week, productivity-wise. All about managing priorities, doing your highest value activities first. Most people are spending 80% of their time doing their least valuable activities, their least high value activities, which means it's not going to help your businesses progress. So we'll talk about all that as well. When you say you make 300 to 400,000, is all that going to your bank account, or is that the starting point to pay other people, paid ads and all that? Yeah. So for example, this month we'll probably do around 300,000, about 30,000 of that, 30 to 40,000 of that will go to paid ads. And then probably another 30,000 will go to advertising, paying for softwares, paying for employees, all that stuff. So I'd say out of 300,000, I probably take home 230, 240 maybe. So it's still a pretty good chunk, maybe 70 to 80% of the money that I see coming in. And that's also something we'll teach, is how to maximize your profits so that you're making a lot more than you're spending. And that's why I say my ROI is insane. I have like an 8-to-1 ROI. And so the amount of money I have to spend for my business to run is much smaller than the amount of money I get back. And that's something about course creating, guys, and selling online products in general. Your overhead is so low. You don't have manufacturing costs. You don't have shipping costs. You don't have labor to make all the products. Your product is made. It's virtual. It's digital. It's chilling. It's ready to buy. When you guys just bought that, we were just sitting here. It was ready to go. You got it in a matter of seconds. And I think this is such an amazing industry to get into right now, is selling digital products, because it's pretty much automated. It's pretty much just customer service on the back end once they buy it. And so there's just not a lot of costs involved.
Chetan says, as of now, I have watched only other YouTubers and other private courses. I've learned a few techniques. So does this course give me confidence to create my own course?
We would hope so. And if the course material isn't giving you confidence, please email us personally or chat on the Facebook group to ask people about what you're doing and help them give you confidence. That's one of our biggest goals is, I mean, honestly, I almost never made full-time filmmaker because I lacked confidence. I was like, I'm not good enough at this stuff. And that's one of my biggest goals is if nothing else, to at least give you guys the confidence to try. And when I built full-time filmmaker, I'm like, what do I have to lose? Like, let's at least, if I fail, okay, I wasted 6 months of my life creating a product that flopped, but in the process, I will have learned a lot of skills and things that I can use and apply in other areas of my life. And that's something Dakota went into with Course Creator Pro. I'm giving him percentages of Course Creator Pro. We're splitting the profits from this. And so he hasn't made money in almost a year.
Yeah.
Dakota's been working for free for almost a year, just living off of his savings, investing in this, thinking, you know what, I think it's going to pay off. But he said, if it doesn't, I will have at least learned a ton of new skills by having to create a course that will allow me to utilize those skills in creating other courses or building other business ventures. So that's a great byproduct. Even if you guys completely fail and flop, hopefully you will have learned some amazing new skills that will allow you to put that energy into different products. Because sometimes it just comes down to your product idea was bad. You may have done all the marketing and advertising well, but at the end of the day, you just didn't do enough market research to determine if that product was any good. And so take all that energy and all those new skills you learned and apply them into a new business venture.
I didn't realize I probably more heavily invested in this than any of you guys will be. I like this question from Autumn. Coming back to the Tattoo Masters, she's asking, would your course help me learn how to get permission from the Tattoo Masters to create courses for them so they could sell their courses on their own websites? Is there any release form, contracts, samples you have available to the courses to help me create this online course for them? I am thinking I'd like to do this to get paid to travel.
Hey, Autumn, shoot us an email. Sounds like you have a very specific business model in mind. We'd be happy to help you out on that. And again, hopefully that your questions can help us shape content and the curriculum to make sure we're covering your specific needs.
Because I think we will eventually want to go into depth of how to work with other people, and that will include forms and contracts and how to take care of that stuff. Because like we said, a lot of you guys will just be using your skills and video to work with other experts, and that whole process we'll want to cover very well.
Eric says, I can't believe you're answering these questions about profits and gains. Man, that's amazing. You should do a meetup. Guys, that's the difference between me and a lot of people in this industry. I'm completely transparent, completely open with you guys. I share this stuff in the course because I feel like if you don't know the actual numbers, you don't know all the ins and outs of how the business runs, you're not going to trust that it's going to work for you. So I want you guys to be completely confident that this is going to work, and you're not going to be confident unless you know every detail about it. And I don't tell you my numbers. I don't tell you how much I make to boast and tell you how rich I am. And I mean, my plans with my money, and I'll talk about this down the line, but I hope to be retired in a few years and use my time and money to spend time with my family, to do community work, to do service projects. I hope to start a foundation next year, or when I have enough money to do so, start a charity organization so that I can use all my time and money to just help the world. So I don't have to work for money, but I can work for the good of the community and for mankind. So, I mean, I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but I'm just letting you guys know that I'm not gloating about how much money I make just to show you that I'm super awesome, but I'm doing it so I can be transparent and let you guys know that it is possible. Because that was one of the things when I first got into this, and what school kind of does negatively to people is it puts you in a box and says, you can make $100,000 in these professions. You can make $150,000 in those professions. And they put you in boxes and tell you what your ceiling is, tell you what you're capped at, what your potential is. And I think that is completely dangerous and poisonous. Because once I got into this stuff, I was shocked when I started making $100,000 a year. I was like, wow, I never thought I could make that much money doing this kind of stuff. And then I made $500,000 in a year. And I was like, holy crap, No one ever told me that I could make this kind of money doing something like this. And then I made $1 million here. I'm like, I don't, how is this possible? I didn't know this was possible. So I'm telling you guys, it is possible because nobody ever told me it was possible. I was given a ceiling. I believed in that ceiling. Go through it, guys. Go through the ceiling.
2 quick questions about the content. Because I'm again saying I haven't made a single video showing myself on camera. Do you think it will help me become confident and start shooting courses, or do you think this is something that I will have to learn myself? So I think he's asking more about presenting, how to be charismatic, and all that can be learned. Me personally, I consider myself an introvert.
I am also an introvert.
And I've had to learn how to present and how to be comfortable in front of a camera.
I don't even think I'm that good at it. And I get comments on my YouTube videos all the time, people saying, you should fluctuate your voice more. You should use more intonation. You should use more facial expression. And I'm like, yeah, sorry, I'm not very good at this. So I would say I'm going to teach you what to do, but I'm not the best example of how to do that. So if I've been able to be successful without being that good of a presenter and not even liking presenting on camera, we're both introverts. We'd rather never appear in front of a camera. But we've pushed ourselves outside of our comfort zone and learned a few skills on camera. And it's really mostly trial and error. I'd say if you watch the beginning of my full-time filmmaker tutorials and compare them to how I present on camera now, I'm like 3 times better than I was when I first started. And it's pretty much just come from doing it. You just have to do it, repetition, and you'll get better as you go.
You guys can actually see the first tutorial I made. It's the branding video in section 1 right now, which I'll want to go back and fix later, but it's a learning process, and now's the best time to start.
Do you present in front of a live audience? Haha, because I do that regularly, but I wonder if it's like talking to the camera. Yeah, I've done both. I do I do presentations to universities and high schools and stuff. It's pretty similar. You just have to learn how to look into a teeny lens instead of looking to an audience. So it is a little bit different. You got to get used to it, but it's pretty similar.
Adrian asks, when we create a course, are you able to look over it, give feedback, even though it's not something you'd be interested in buying?
Sorry, I was reading a different question.
Okay, well, to answer it, I would say yes. And this is where the mentoring comes in. We're not sure exactly how we're going to structure that, but we do want to be heavily involved in your whole process, because in order to have a successful course that's making money, there's lots of different pieces, and we have to help you identify where you're having that bottleneck or what you need to improve. So yes, we are going to want to, in some depth, look over your course and your content to diagnose it.
Vince asks, we're a husband and wife team. Should we both be on camera, or should we present one of us? I would say if you both can get to a point where you feel like you can present comfortably on camera, I use both of you, because you might have specific, especially if it's man and wife, you're going to have cater to different audiences by having both genders in there. But if one of you is significantly better than the other, then maybe just stick to one of you. Let's see. Since we are collabing, will we both have access to the Facebook group also? By the way, I don't know what that question is, Jeff, sorry. If you've bought Full-Time Filmmaker, you have access to Full-Time Filmmaker and their Facebook group. If you buy Course Creator Pro, you have access to Course Creator Pro Facebook group, but they're 2 separate products, 2 separate groups. For the answers, Manuel. Also, loving your FTF course. I have become 10 times faster at Premiere Pro. That's what I'm talking about. Save you time, saves you money, makes you more money. Do you ever plan to do a live workshop with your course? And is that another lucrative income stream? So Zachary, yes, it is, and yes, I probably will in the future. Here's the way I've looked at it though. I've ran the numbers, and best case scenario, if I were to come up with a great live presentation that maybe lasted 2 or 3 days, because most people that want to do a camp like that want to be there for multiple days, get a lot of in-person training. I could probably make $20,000 to $30,000 doing a live presentation like that. And that would take, 3 or 4 days worth of work, and maybe traveling to different areas of the world, which another 2 or 3 days. So it's pretty much a week worth of work that would make me $20,000 to $30,000. But my online courses are giving me $50,000 to $60,000 a week in revenue. So I can make 2 to 3 times more focusing my energy on building my course than I can actually going out and live presenting. So that's kind of been my mindset. If your course sales aren't doing as well as that, and you see opportunities to do live presentations that could supplement your not so good course sales, I think that becomes a better option. But because my course sales have been so good, it's allowed me to just focus on that. I think once and if ever my course sales die down, I will look into that more as another revenue source, but it's definitely an option. Way more than $23,000. It depends on the audiences, but the biggest thing is time, Dustin. Yeah, I could make a lot more, but it would, if I were to make more than $23,000, I'd be charging either prices that I think are too high. I like to price things at prices that I would pay for them, so I wouldn't feel like I'm giving a fair evaluation, or I'd be presenting to too many people. I wouldn't feel like I'd be able to give them personalized attention. So that's more of just an integrity thing. I'm like, I don't want to make so much money if I don't feel like I'm giving people the value. But yeah. Oh yeah, in-person training is always going to be more expensive. But again, I don't want the money if I can't give I just personally think I can give better content and a better learning experience in an online course than I can live. People think it's going to be better live, but that's probably just because they like the in-person experience. But I'm always telling people, I script these videos to death to make sure I cut out all the crap, and I'm only giving you the best information. I can't do that live. I ramble on, I repeat things, I don't say everything that I should have said, I leave stuff out. And so I personally think online education is better than in person. But about the course, good to have you, Vince. Hard to know what will fly for my course. Can you expand on how you help in R&D for us? Of course. So Vince, once you go through the content we already have, shoot us an email with any suggestions saying, hey, love this video, but can you expand on this? I have these 5 questions that I want answered further in depth. Again, we hope to expand this course and cater it specifically to you guys based on your questions. So make sure to shoot us emails at support@coursecreatorpro.com. I chose filmmaking, hoping to make it lucrative. Would you say that filmmaking is nowhere near as lucrative as creating online courses? So Michael, I would say with my filmmaking and video production skills, I'd say if I poured all of my energy into that, which I never have because I've always been doing other things on the side, at my peak of doing it, probably 70 or 80% of my time doing it, I made a little over $100,000 a year doing it. I think if I were to grow and focus just on it, I could make anywhere from $200,000 to $300,000 a year in video production and filmmaking, doing it specifically for clients. Some of the top dogs, maybe $500,000, but I would say that 10x, I can do 10x in course creating and online products that I can do in filmmaking. And I'm using my filmmaking skills to create the product, the online products, and to advertise and sell them. So it's kind of a combination of both, of having that skill of filmmaking and utilizing it to sell online products. But definitely I've been able to make, this year we'll do over $2 million in revenue in course sales. And my best year in video production was 100,000. So 20 times more I've been able to make selling courses than doing video production. So not to say that video production isn't a great job, and Full-Time Filmmaker is showing how many people have been able to make 6-figure incomes by applying Full-Time Filmmaker. So it's a great job. It's personally not my only passion. I like filmmaking, but I like creating businesses. I'm an entrepreneur at heart, not just a filmmaker. So someone who just likes filmmaking, you might not want to do this stuff. You might say, you know what? I enjoy filming and editing way more than worrying about all this dumb software and having to write scripts and do education and having to do customer service. So it may not be for you. I would say there's a lot more money in it, but if you'd rather do video production, be a little bit more capped in how much money you can make, but do something that you're more passionate about, then that might be a better route for you to go.
Hunter asks, what courses have you taken to learn this? You reference Russell Brunson.
Yeah, so I'll make recommendations in the course. I've already made recommendations already. Peter Voogd was big on business stuff, so like time management. I provide that information in the Full-Time Filmmaker stuff as well. So Peter Voogd, I listened to his podcast. We'll give you a link where you can download a lot of the podcasts I listened to early on that convinced me to quit my original job working for Devon Supertramp and start becoming an entrepreneur. The launch by Jeff Walker was big in helping me launch my course. Again, I didn't think I would make any money in that first week, and I did over $80,000 in sales in that first week, and so that book definitely worked, even though I didn't think it would. And Russell Brunson, he's the owner of ClickFunnels, which is another great software. I personally don't like it as much as some of the softwares I use, but Russell Brunson has a lot of great books like Expert Secrets, and does a lot of training material. He's the one that does $30,000 mentorships, teaching people how to do this kind of stuff. So he has some great material. Who else we got? I honestly learn a lot from other people's ads. So most of my time spent on Facebook is customer service to full-time filmmaker people, but it's also spent looking at ads in my feed. Some people get annoyed by ads. I'm like, oh, sweet, an ad. Let's see what they're doing and see if it's working. So I'm constantly learning from other people's advertisements on Facebook and Instagram. If they have a lot of likes and comments, that means they've been putting a lot of money into that ad. And if they've been putting in a lot of money, that means they're making a lot of money. And so I can learn something from that ad. And so there's a lot you can learn just from watching and studying other successful businesses as well. And as far as the courses I've taken personally, I wouldn't recommend them, so I'm not going to tell you who they are. As far as Facebook ads go, and I bought a YouTube ad course, I bought a Facebook ad course, I bought a webinar course. None of them I felt were outstanding. I'm like, yeah, there's some good tips in here, but a lot of this stuff I'm already doing, and they're not doing things that I think they should, that I think would be better.
Parker, didn't you used to have a door-to-door sales job?
I did.
Did that help you in your career?
A little bit. It helped me know what I didn't want to do with my life, and helped me be very focused on things I did want to do. Also, sales skills in general are good to have, but we'll teach you a bunch of sales skills that I did learn some of those from doing door-to-door. I think anybody should do sales job at one time or another, because sales is something you can utilize in any business, even if it's just selling yourself to a future employer. So yeah, I recommend people doing sales jobs. It doesn't have to be door-to-door sales, but yeah, I learned some good stuff there. Scott says, I purchased FTF when you released it. I've doubled my income every year since filmmaking. I'm so pumped for this course. That's awesome, Scott. Scott right there is a great example of somebody who's not only, as Adam Grumble mentioned, not only watches the content, but works his little tail off to implement everything I teach. And as you see from Scott there, when you actually implement what we teach, money will follow.
People really want a tutorial on how you're productive in your work ethic.
Oh, we'll get there. That'll be in the 5th section. The scaling is understanding how to run a business well, because I'm running full-time filmmaker. I'm now running this new business, Course Creator Pro. I just started an LLC for developing real estate properties and managing those. We're currently building an office space for full-time filmmaker, and we're buying a 500 square foot building. We're going to be leasing out some of the spaces and then potentially wholesaling it to make a profit on that. So I have my hands in a lot of different businesses, and to be able to run and do that many things, you have to manage your time wisely and prioritize, like I said, highest value activities. What are the highest value activities I could be doing today? Tell you one isn't deciding what to wear. It's like Mark Zuckerberg. He wears the same shirt every day because he doesn't want to waste time making decisions on menial things. I eat the same thing for breakfast every day. I don't want to spend an hour making a huge breakfast. Little things like that just, I wake up, I start working, I'm productive all day. I get off work, I spend time with family, make that very, very meaningful time with the family, go to bed, wake up, do the same thing every day. So we'll talk about that further in depth, but yeah, that's a huge part to success. Who was the author of the launch book? Jeff Walker. And all that info is in the course. Should I buy a C200 before I make my own course or after I've made money from making my own course? Ben, I'll show you in the course, but I show you how you can create course content with as little as $1,000 to $2,000 worth of camera gear. An SL2 with a kit lens, a little teleprompter, a decent microphone, lav mic, or like this mic right here. You don't need a C200. You don't need expensive stuff. You could make a very great course just with a cheap DSLR. Obviously, the nicer gear you have, the better your stuff's going to look. But if you know the basics of filmmaking and know the basics of composing and lighting and all that, which we'll teach, then you should be able to create good-looking enough content. And a lot of the courses I bought is somebody on just the worst quality camera with terrible audio. They're either, they have a lav mic, but it's like distorting, or the microphone's on the camera so you can barely hear them. And they're like drawing on a whiteboard instead of like showing you B-roll images on the screen. So, I mean, if you do what we tell you to in this course, you're already going to be heads and shoulders above most courses out there as far as how well put together your courses are, even with cheap cameras. Victor, you guys are awesome, truly inspiring. I actually bought FTF because I'd seen so many bad ClickFunnels and webinars. It feels a little spooky that you've made this product. It was definitely a secret wish of mine. Yeah, so I mean, that's why we built this, because I'm like, same thing. I've watched so many webinars, and even webinars that are telling you how to make webinars, and I'm like, oh, this is so cheap. There's so many marketers out there just looking to make a quick buck, just like, trying to convince you to pay them $2,000 to give you a few words of advice. And I'm sick of it. And so I want to create a new generation of people who make actual good content and have actually good products to offer people, and can utilize their sales funnels and their webinars and their ads to actually give people good products.
Funny, we the process of doing our market research, we would sign up for other webinars and sales pitches for courses on how to create courses. And the best one we found, they were charging us, the price was $10,000. And they said if I bought it right then, they would only charge me $5,000. We didn't get it, but
yeah, that sounds kind of scary. Dustin says, do you recommend not using whiteboards no matter what course you're creating? No, there's no rules to this. I'm not saying whiteboards aren't effective. They can be, but it was like, I could barely see what he was writing. And it was like, you could have just put this on text in the editing room in like a third the amount of time. It was more of the time it took for him to be up there writing and drawing things. I'm like, dude, this is an hour-long tutorial that you could have done in 10 minutes if you just would have taken an extra day to put all of this in post and writing. And so it's just those little things that I didn't even finish that course because I'm like, I can't watch all this. I don't have an hour to watch you draw on a whiteboard. There might be times where that's effective, but I would say most of the time that's not going to be as effective as some of the stuff we teach in the course. I'm looking for a good camera for both YouTube and courses. I'm torn between M8080D and the EOS-R. Would you recommend either of those? Yes, those are all great cameras. Obviously, just different price ranges, but I'd say any of those would be great. Just depends on your price range, what you want to spend. So you recommend just having a second camera angle on the whiteboard so it's easier? Sure, Dustin. Second camera angle. Go for it. Again, there's no rules to this. Whatever you think is going to be the best experience for your customers, go for it. And get feedback and say, did you like that, or did you like this video I did? We put a lot of time into our tutorials, and some of you guys aren't going to want to put that much time into it. We kind of go over and beyond. So starting out, Dustin, yeah, use a whiteboard. Use whatever you can to get some content out there. And as you start getting some sales and some feedback, improve the content. We still got, how many people we got on? 137? I mean,
Yeah.
How long do you guys want us to stay on here? We'll stick around for a bit if you want, but
I've only scrolled up halfway through the chat.
Just to let you know that I learned everything from Full-Time Filmmaker. I'm a Belgian filmmaker. My business really is going good. Thanks. Hey, thanks for the feedback, Tobias. Appreciate it. So good to see people succeed. And that's a cool part of creating courses, is not only do you make good money by selling your education, but you get to see other people make good money by applying your education. So it's a win-win. People pay you money and then they praise you for allowing them to pay you money. It's kind of a weird feeling, but people really do appreciate when you share knowledge and allow them to tap into the success you've had.
Would you suggest doing Course Creator Pro first or full-time filmmaker first?
So I'd recommend doing Course Creator. It depends on what you want to focus on. Do you want to just be a filmmaker, want to do client-based video work, or do you want to be more into the business side of marketing and advertising and online courses and all that? I would say get Course Creator Pro first. And if you feel like your video skills aren't up to par, we don't have a ton of video production tutorials in Course Creator Pro. We have a few just to kind of get you by and get you going. But if you have no idea how to film videos, no idea how to edit in Premiere Pro and stuff like that, then you'll probably want to sign up for both. But if you get Course Creator Pro first, we have a discount code to Full-Time Filmmaker so that you can get both of them at a discounted price. So if you don't have Full-Time Filmmaker, I'd probably say get this one first, and then as needed, join Full-Time Filmmaker or some of the mini courses. We have just an editing course in Premiere Pro for $100. So if you don't need help with anything else, just the editing, then there's cheaper routes to do that. One of the reasons you don't like ClickFunnels software, Tom, ClickFunnels, we talk about this in the course again when we're comparing them. ClickFunnels is kind of an all-in-one software. So it claims to help you run webinars. It claims to host your course. It claims to be your sales and checkout pages. It claims to be a lot of things. And I recommend, instead of getting one software that claims to do it all, to get 3 or 4 softwares that specialize in that specific task. Because ClickFunnels, it's probably overall cheaper to do it that way, to have one software that can do everything, but they don't do any one thing really great. And so that's why it's popular, because it's probably easier. And so if you want to go that route, more power to you. I think it's a great option. I just think there's better options that are a little bit more expensive, but more customizable, and in my opinion, a little more professional.
People keep asking about in-person training. I know people have asked you about that with Full-Time Filmmaker too.
What do they ask specifically?
Well, Dustin, he
What?
pitches an idea, says bring 20, 30 people with you on a 2-day, 3 job, charge $2,000 to $3,000 a person for 2 to 3 days.
Right.
And then,
Yeah, no, we already covered all that.
Okay.
Yeah. The list of people Parker recommends listening to. Is that a question?
Yeah, so they asked Parker, can we get this list in any form?
Yeah.
And then I'm not sure. And then I asked what list.
Yeah, so we'll provide all that in the course, give you the list of all the peeps. Currently, if you go to my Kit page, I have a list of book recommendations, kit.com/Parker Welbeck. We'll type that in right here. If you go to kit.com, I have a book recommendations kit where it has a lot of great books that I've read that have kind of helped shift my mindset into becoming a disruptor of industries. What has been the most frustrating thing about creating courses? Any specifics that stress you out? Chris, the biggest thing is, I would say, the actual creation process. And me and Dakota are in the middle of that. We're about halfway through. It is daunting. It takes a long time. If you do it well, I mean, we could bust this stuff out. I could have all the course done for you next week, the rest of it. But I want it to be top of the line, right? I don't just want to give it to you. I want to give it to you in its best format, that teaches you the most in the least amount of time. But that's probably the hardest process, is learning how to present the information in a chronological way, and taking a day or two to really script out concepts and making sure you're covering all the information chronologically and in a concise manner. And so that's probably the most frustrating part, is just how long it takes to build a really good course. And again, you guys don't have to build your courses as in-depth as we do. We're kind of like I said, the top 1%. If you're like, look, I don't have the time to do all the things you're telling me, pick and choose the things you do want to do, and you'll take a gamble on how successful your course will be based on how many things you decide to leave out. But for example, I claim that it took me about a month to scripts, film, and edit together with great B-roll my webinar that currently runs on Full-Time Filmmaker. This webinar you guys are watching right now, I scripted in a day. I made a slideshow in a day, and I set it up on Webinar Jam in a day. It took 3 days to put together this webinar you're watching right now, and it sold a bunch of you guys. So it's like, yeah, you can do it in 3 days. It can be done, but hopefully I'm making this webinar a lot better, so that because a lot of you guys are warm leads. You already know who I am. If I'm going to sell this to cold leads, I want to make sure that webinar is just top notch, right? So yeah, any of the things we teach can be done way simple and can be less frustrating than we make them. But if you really want this to stand out and potentially become a 7-figure business, you have the blueprint.
So Vishal has asked us a couple times. I said we use a CPA, and that's kind of what we suggest. But he says, would it make sense to create a new biz entity for going into partnerships with an expert, or give 50%
Yes.
of profit that comes into my existing business entity?
Yeah. So I own I own and partially own like 5 different entities right now. You got Parker Wellek Productions, you got Full Time Filmmaker, you got Course Creator Pro, you got my real estate one. I'm investing in a different business. So it's like for every new business where I have new partners, this one is a new partner, new business entity, start a new one. It's kind of a pain in the butt having to file for a new business, get a new bank account. I have like 6 different business bank accounts, and it's kind of a pain in the butt, but it keeps you safe legally in case someone tries to sue one of your businesses. They can't take any of your other entities. So it is smart if you're starting new businesses, even your filmmaking business. Again, don't starting out, just use your current entity. But if you feel like, okay, this is going to be a substantial source of income, let's create a new entity for it so we can keep the taxes separate. We can keep it clean and keep it legally safe from each other. I'd recommend any new partnership you start up, create a new entity for it. Ever get distracted working at home and seeing your wife and daughter around in the day? Yes. In fact, while we were an hour before we went live, we were testing out the webinar, making sure everything worked good. And my 1-year-old daughter's banging on the door. Dada. We're trying to focus on practicing and getting this good. And she's banging on the door. My wife finally comes and takes her out of the house. But yeah, it's definitely distracting. In fact, that's why we're building an office space so that because we have a second kid coming on the way in January. And so things are only going to get louder and noisier. But my office is about a year and a half out from being finished. So in the meantime, I'm actually finishing my basement so I can be a little bit farther removed from the kids and wife so I can work. It is hard. And I'd recommend it for certain reasons. It is definitely super nice just to be able to wake up, come downstairs, start working. But it definitely has its drawbacks. And in order for me to focus more and be more productive, I am going to get a separate office space. But that costs money. And these first few years of my entrepreneurship, I've wanted to save as much money as I can and haven't been able to even afford having an office space. And so it's taken me a few years to even have the income to afford an office space. So it's been great being able to work from home, but definitely has its drawbacks.
I don't know if you covered this already, but Michael says, do you only teach Facebook ads, or do you teach YouTube ads and Google, SEM, SEO?
Yeah, so Facebook and Instagram ads are the main things we focus on because I believe it's by far the best tool to use. YouTube ads, we've tested them out. I've spent probably $10,000, $20,000 in YouTube ads, and they're just not nearly as effective as Facebook and Instagram ads. And we're trying to get better at YouTube ads and figure out a better system. I just don't think, I think organic content on YouTube is more effective than paid content on YouTube. And we will teach how to do the organic content on YouTube part. So Facebook and Instagram is the main focus for now. Hopefully we'll have better content on YouTube ads in the future as we get better at that, assuming it is ever going to be a good source. But the point is I've been able to make a 7-figure business without YouTube ads. So I think that speaks a lot to Facebook and Instagram ads. Google SEO is another thing that I haven't done a lot of. If you type in full-time filmmaker, I'm like the 10th thing to show, or no, it's full-time filmmaker, I'm the first thing. But if you type in online film school, I'm like the 10th, 15th search thing to come up in the search results. So I don't get a lot of traffic from SEO on Google, and I'm working on that by creating blogs and other content on Google. So we're in the process of learning Google SEO. And just in the past 6 months since I brought on Jake to help with that, we've gone from, I think we were the 37th search results on Google SEO to now I think we're like between 10 and 15th results in Google searches when you type in online film school. So we have improved already a lot over the past few months. And as we start to learn more on that, we will share more of that. But again, we've been able to be super successful without any Google SEO, which should give you a little bit of sigh of relief saying, oh, okay, good, I don't have to learn another thing. So we try and make this as simple as we can, but as we grow and expand and get better at different things, we're going to be sharing with you new things and new insights. And then what was the other one? I think that was it.
We use Wells Fargo.
Wells Fargo. How many course sales have you made so far during this launch? Well, let's go ahead and check. That's a good question. We haven't even been watching. Refresh the page. Not bad. Not a bad day. So revenue in the past, in fact, you know what? Pull it up for them. Go to Course Creator Pro. We'll share the screen with you. The suspense is killing you, I'm sure. How many sales have we gotten in the past hour? Man, I have to go to the bathroom. I've been drinking way too much water. I don't know. How are you signing up?
Let's
log in.
I want more accounts.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, show you guys. Code is VNQNPL. Signing into a new computer, so gotta make sure we're secure. All right, go to your dashboard, and as soon as that pops up, go ahead and share the screen with them. So you guys can see how we've been doing today so far. There you have it. That was our sales for the day. We made about $100,000 in the past hour. So if that doesn't convince you that this works, then I don't know what will. So that equates to about 200 sales, and you're probably asking, wait a minute, I thought first 100 only get it. So here's the thing. I guess I'm more generous than others. Most people will cut it off at 100 and say, nope, if you didn't get in the first 100, you got to pay full price, and force people to pay full price after that. I'm just, I guess, nicer. I'm just like, you know what? If more than 100 people sign up, we'll let them join at the half off. The fact that they showed up for the webinar and are, going to be one of the first to join, we'll give them the deal anyway. So that's, you guys can decide how you'd want to do that. If you'd want to cut it off at 100 and make people start paying you full price, I think that would limit the number of total sales I'd get. There's 100 people extra on top of the 100 who joined at the half price. Now I could take the gamble and say, you know what? Let's cut it off at 100 and make those 100 pay full price, but you might lose over half of those sales from people, wanting to join at half price, which might limit the total amount of money you can make. So, this is a tactic, another sales tactic you use: urgency, scarcity, make them want it now. And so this is me being completely transparent. I usually won't actually limit to the number I tell, just because I'm, I guess, nicer than. But a lot of marketers do cut it off. They're like, nope, you're done. Even Black Friday sales, like we're going to do a Black Friday sale next week for a full-time filmmaker, and I'll tell people you have 3 days to sign up for this. Most people will cut off the sale at 3 days, but I'll have people emailing me for weeks after saying, oh, I just didn't have the money then. Can I please use the Black Friday coupon code? I'm like, sure, it's fine. So, that's something you guys personally have to decide in your business if you want to allow people who don't fit inside that original 100 that you claimed would only get the thing and still allow people to use those coupon codes. That's something I'm okay with doing. You have to decide if that's something for your business if you want to do.
The benefit to cutting it off at exactly 100, because we had talked about this, is that the sales after the 100 are harder to get. You do have to push harder and keep reminding them and give them more content. But like we said, you do get 50% more revenue. So really what would have happened is we would have gotten about 50,000 from the first 100. And then if we push for those extra 100 or the extra 100 people, then we would have been at a total at 150,000. So it just kind of depends on how willing you are to fight for those sales, or whether because like right now we need people in our course to help us design and push the content. So it's all about your personal strategy and trade-offs.
Right. Yeah, so that's my strategy. I've done it. It works well. I haven't attempted being as strict with people and cutting those off. Even in my webinar, I offer a 25% off discount during the webinar. I'll have people email me a week after, say, hey, I couldn't join during that 20 minutes. Can I still get that discount? I'm like, yeah, I'll honor it because you were there. So I mean, that's just my personal decision. Some people are, but I'm all about customers first. I want the customers to be super stoked and getting the value for the price they think it's worth. And that's another big part of being successful is having the customers absolutely love your product at the price that they think it's worth, so that they can be raving fans and then recommend it to other people. Because I get a lot of sales from word of mouth. A lot of people will go out and recommend the course to their friends and family because of how much they've loved it. So another important part to selling your course and building a great brand.
This is a good question. I don't think we've covered.
Sorry. Is our discount in CCP better than the Black Friday sale for FTF? Is our CC? Yeah, it will be, Chris. Don't worry about you. I got you. Sorry, go ahead.
Chris said, how have you dealt with negative feedback on ads? On FTF ads, there's always people thinking you're a fraud or fake. I see you handle it so well. Where does that come from?
Yeah, so I'm assuming this is Christopher U. Olson who's asking these questions. Christopher always comments on my responding to Facebook ads. By the way, that's the garbage man. We opened the window because it was getting hot in here, and the garbage man's coming by. So sorry if that's loud. Yeah, I'd say that's one of the frustrating things too with running ads and doing courses is there's a lot of hates. There's anytime you guys become successful at something, anytime you have followers of people that like what you're doing, there's going to be not an equal amount, but a good amount of people that don't like what you're doing. And you have to keep that in mind. You have to balance that. I would always tell this to Devin Supertramp because he gets so hung up on the 10% of people that disliked his videos and left negative comments. I said, dude, you still had 90% of the people that did like it. They just weren't as vocal. And so you have to keep that in mind and just be like, you know what? I know a lot of people are benefiting from this and getting great value. And that helps push you through the negativity. And my goal is just trying to respond in a way that defends myself, because I think it is important to defend your brand if people are trashing on you, but in a way that is diplomatic enough to where you're not going to be attacking somebody, just defending yourself positively in a way that would show other people, this guy's professional. So it is hard, but definitely something I've learned over time of, you learn by responding in certain ways. You're like, okay, that was a bad way to respond. I got a bad reaction. And again, it's just something with repetitions of responding a lot. You start to learn what people don't like to hear, what they do like to hear, what works, what doesn't work. Have you had problems getting filtered into spam folders on your email campaigns? How to avoid it? Yeah, the easiest way, Mo, to avoid getting, and we'll talk about this when setting up your email list and all that. Easiest way to avoid getting put on spam lists is to do a double opt-in. However, that will decrease the amount of people who opt in. So there's trade-offs. I personally don't have a double opt-in. But a lot of people do opt-ins, double opt-ins, because that will, one, assure that be more assuring that they won't get put on a spam list, but also it limits the amount of people you have on your email list, which is good and bad. You don't have as many people to target, but it's cheaper to not have to target that many people. To host that many people. So for instance, I pay $1,000 a month to host my 200,000 email subscribers. It's free in MailChimp up to 2,000, but now I'm up to 200,000. It costs me $1,000 a month to host all of them. But in one Black Friday sale, I'll probably make $100,000 just next week by blasting out an email to all those people to get a Black Friday sale. So it definitely pays for itself, but just deciding whether you're going to double opt-in or not double opt-in will, allow you to reach more people on that list. But just trade-offs. Just FYI, the confirmation email for my sign-up went to my spam. No, Jennifer. Again, Course Creator Pro is brand new, so we'll work out some of those kinks.
You ever plan on writing a book?
Davis, I do plan on writing a book. Probably not for a while. I hope to have more authority by the time I write a book. I have some authority, but I would like to have more. I want to have more wisdom, basically. I'm the kind of guy where I don't want to share something unless I feel like I'm an expert on it. So like for the lighting tutorial, full-time filmmaker, I studied lighting for 2 years before I came out with one tutorial on lighting because I wanted to make sure I was a decent authority on the subject. So as far as writing a book, I do want to write books down the line, but I want to make sure that I'm one of the best people in the world to speak on those subjects before writing. Nos vemos, Núñez. Hasta luego, mi amigo. Some people who sell courses, I find, are so spammy, doing like an email blast 3 days before launching their course. How come you don't do that? Like an email blast 3 days before launching their course. I did do that. I've been sending you guys emails before launching this course, so I'm not sure.
We spread it out a little bit more.
So yeah, that's one of my tactics. People, you're probably saying people send a lot of emails. There's a balance. I think you want to send enough emails to get people's attention and get them excited. But I'm the same way. I don't like when I get an email every single day from somebody. I'm like, dude, leave it alone. And then their emails are like, 2 pages long. And so I'm not going to read all this. So there's some tactics like that I'll talk about. There's some general rules of copy and email funneling that people tell you that I think a lot of it's garbage. I'm like, these rules are terrible. I hate when people do that to me. So one of the biggest rules I teach is do what you'd want people to do to you. When marketing to people, market the way you want to be marketed to, because that I've found tends to work just as good, if not better, than the way the marketers do it. And that's something that's different about my approach than other people's approaches. Is I'm all about let's figure out what I think will work best versus what other people think will work best. For example, I was always told live webinars is the only way to go. It's the best way to go. And I did live webinars for a few months. And I said, should I do automated? And my mentors were like, no, never do automated. That's the worst thing you could do. Well, I only tried it anyway. And I did. And it's been like 5 times more successful than live webinars. And I've far surpassed some of those mentors who were telling me just to do live. So, I'm going to teach you stuff in this course. Take what I do that you like. Take the stuff that I do that you don't like and improve upon it. Do what you think would work for your audience. So, Paul, hey, Park, I just want to let you know that I have purchased hundreds of online courses ranging from Udemy, all this stuff.
How many garbage cans are over here?
And, yeah, sorry, garbage man. It's coming back around the street. And none have the marketing tactics like you do. I'm blown away by your work ethic. I just want to say I admire you and thank you for what you do. Thanks, Paul. Appreciate it. Again, I've seen a lot of courses too. I've seen the way they market, and I'm just like, I wouldn't do it that way. I don't want to be marketed to. I don't want to market the way I'm marketed to. I'm going to do what I think is going to work, and I'll share with you what I think works. But if you don't think that's going to work for your audience, then do it the way. Be authentic. Use your real voice. I see too many people sending emails where it's like, their headlines are so cheesy and so like markety. It's like, treat me like a person, not like a customer, You bet, Dustin.
It's a whip.
I missed this earlier, but is the full course available or still in a whip? I missed this.
Work in progress.
Work in progress. Come on, guys. Use words.
I got it. I figured it out.
Yeah, the full course has 25 completed videos. The first 2 out of 5 sections are done. Working on the next 3, but the 2 sections, by the time you implement the first 2 sections, which is the longest part of creating a course, is the actual creating the course. By the time you actually implement that, it should take a month or 2. We'll have the other ones done in time for you to, and hopefully we'll kind of be teaching you as you're doing it, which is kind of beneficial because sometimes it's like watching a series, binge watching a Netflix series or watching it as you go. We're going to be teaching you as you go, so you can be implementing, one tutorial at a time instead of getting overloaded with a bunch of content up front. You can master one video at a time. So I think it'll actually be better for a lot of you.
Yeah, we're tired, Michelle.
We are tired. We haven't been sleeping very well in preparation for this launch. So, in fact, last night I started getting a fever. I'm like, oh no, please. Hold out. You can get sick on Thursday.
Last thing, start a podcast.
I will, Dustin. All these things are great ideas that I don't have time for. We'll get there. Love you too, Vishal. So we still got 100 people on. We're pretty much done. We've been answering questions for almost 2 hours now. Unless you guys have any last lingering questions, we're going to bounce. But shoot us any emails if you guys have more questions. I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick. So see if they have any other questions. I'll come back. If there's still more questions, we'll bounce. If not, we'll stick around for a little longer.
When you partner with expert, but you run and manage everything like you were planning with Chris Picard, how do you manage paying that person? Do you have a joint bank account or just send them? Okay, sorry. I know there's a lot more questions. So the way me and Parker run it is, so Course Creator Pro itself is an LLC that Parker owns, and then instead of us splitting that, I started my own entity, which is, I just named it Dakota Walbeck Studios, I think. And then he pays me as a 1099, and then I run my LLC with an S election, so that way I can have better tax benefits. It's complicated. What we suggest is that you get a CPA. They're worth their weight in gold, and you discuss it with them. You'll actually probably need to get him involved anyway, especially if you do split up the business. So CPA is the way to go. They have the information. Because it completely depends on your state. It depends on so many different variables. Yes, thank you both for your time. You rock. You're doing great things, Davis. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. We appreciate it. Thank you all you guys for your support. Chris, awesome. So pumped to get started. We're pumped to help you get started, and we're pumped to keep making our course. That's the thing I'm most excited about. Is up until this point, none of this content's been tested, but it's about to get put through the ringer. Thanks for the great live Q&A. Looking forward to the lectures of the course. Thanks, guys. Tell us about my glasses. They're actually prescription glasses. They help cancel out blue light, and so it makes headaches less happen.
Dakota's prone to headaches.
You get lots of headaches. Scoot over. Okay.
Yeah, me.
Has Parker paid my bills? No, So before I jumped into this, I had a really good paying job running marketing for a door-to-door sales company. And so saved up a big purse. I lived cheap, even though I was making good money. And then I jumped off the boat, and then I just had to live cheap on my savings.
How an LLC better than being a sole proprietor in this line of work? The biggest thing is to protect yourself, Katie, from getting sued. If you have an entity set up, it separates you from your personal assets, your business assets from your personal assets, so that if you get sued, they can't touch your house, they can't touch your personal stuff. So that's the reason why it's called a limited liability, because it limits where you can be liable.
And our CPA suggested that, he said up until you make about $10,000 a year, you probably should stay as a sole proprietor. But after the $10,000 barrier, he suggests getting your LLC set up.
Killer job, Jance. Loving FTF. Piqued my interest in setting up commercial real estate training.
I'm not sure what a Swannies is, Chris.
Yeah, real estate is a great market to get into. I'm actually currently trying to help somebody else set up a house flipping course, and just because they're doing it doesn't mean you can't do it too. There's again, the market's huge, guys. The ocean is blue. Get out there and start swimming, start making a dent in the world.
See you, Annika.
Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. Blue blocking glass. Okay. All right. Cool.
All right. I don't know. They told me to get them, so I got them.
Still got 100 of you guys on. I don't know why you want to talk to us this long, but we're here if you want to.
Why wait until the 10K mark for an LLC?
Basically, because you don't have very much money for anyone to care about.
The IRS doesn't care.
Yeah, they don't care. So I actually didn't get an LLC until I was quite a bit more money than that. But Budapest, I have not been, but I hope to. It looks beautiful. I actually have a buddy who lived there for a couple of years that loved it there, so he's told me all about it. Would hope to come out. Guys, I'm honestly exhausted of traveling. I've been to like 40 countries and 4 or 5 years, and it's fun, but the actual physical process of traveling, kind of done with it. But I think I'll still be traveling quite a bit because my job requires me to. Here's a good one. Sorry. Well, questions coming in. What do you do to log your expenses and keep track of receipts? We talk about this in the course. We'll have a full tutorial walking you through how I use it, but QuickBooks is what I use. And I give my CPA access to my QuickBooks. So in a pinch, you can tell me, hey, recategorize this as that, do this different. And at the end of the year, it gives me suggestions on places to spend my money on, this IRA or this or that, to avoid having to pay a lot of tax at the end of the year. So we'll go over all that stuff. Thanks for coming, Thomas.
Wes, yeah, I actually do a video specifically on that, how to set up an LLC and all that.
Tax difference with LLC. Yeah, there are differences. Again, I'm not an expert on taxes and all that stuff. So our biggest recommendation is to get in contact with a CPA. They're going to know way more than you and help way more than what you're going to be paying them for their expertise. So it's definitely worth getting a CPA. We go over how much they cost in the course. I think you said like it was $250 to use your CPA.
That's how much Ryan charges.
For me, it was more because when I Dakota brought him on with really no income. I brought him on. I was already making over $1 million a year. So there's more for him to do for me. So I think he charged me $1,000 to do all my taxes. But so it's kind of scaled to how much you make. Will depend on how much they charge you. Good to have you, David. Thanks for signing up. Excited to get you going in the course.
$24 away from 100,000.
It's not bad. Not a bad first day. And we made $100,000 in an hour. Yes, that sounds like whoa, but remember, he didn't get paid for a year, so it's like
really over nine months.
So it was like, yeah, it's about what I would make in a year's worth of work. But hopefully from here on out, we can make a lot more than that once we can start selling this thing.
Tristan asks, are your parents successful in their field? Did they help raise you with good money sense? Yeah, our dad has started a lot of different businesses, and some have done really well, and he's doing one right now, actually, isn't he?
Yeah, they my parents did teach me some of it, but my dad was when I started making a lot of money, I went to my dad for advice. I said, hey, where should I invest some of this money? And he's like, I'm probably the last person you should ask because I've made a lot of bad investments. So yeah, he has taught me a lot about money, but he's also taught me a lot about what not to do with money at the same time. So I've been able to learn a lot from his mistakes as well.
There's a lot of good info out there.
I know you guys are making great money, but I just have to let you know that I've been watching for a long time and just went pro. You guys have completely changed my life. That's awesome, Wes. And those comments are the types of comments that make it worth those long hours, those long months of not getting paid. Not just the money. The money is great too, but when you have people like Wes telling you that, it warms your heart and you're just like, oh man, that is really cool to know that you were able to change someone's life. So thanks for telling us, Wes. That means a lot. I have a client who did webinars. She paid a former big company marketer a lot of money to do launches. She did one for each new yoga class she taught with diminishing returns. Would this course be able to help someone with an existing business? No. So Victor, this is what I'm talking about. It's so frustrating. Marketing and advertising agencies charge way too much money, and they're usually not that good because here's the problem. Marketing and ad agencies are good at marketing and advertising, but they don't know your product. You know your product better than any marketing or ad agency will. So I have like Matt Townsend. He does a marriage advice course. He paid probably $50,000 to a website company, to a marketing agency, to a video production company to build a course. And give him hardly any returns, pretty much a loss, $50,000 loss. I came in and I'm like, dude, you can shoot your videos yourself. I'm gonna teach you how. You can make your own webinar. It'll take a few weeks to get it up and make it effective, but here's how you do it. You can run your own Facebook ads. Here you go. You know your audience better than anyone else. You can do it better than them. And he's been able to make tens of thousands of dollars over the past few months, past couple of years by doing it by himself. and it didn't cost him hardly anything up front besides his time. And so that's an example of an existing business that utilize the skills I teach to revamp their business and become their own marketing agency, become their own advertising agency, become their own video production company. The world's evolving, guys. Most things can be done in-house with 1 or 2 people. It's just a matter of you being willing to learn a few new skills and do it yourself, but they can be learned.
I like this question by Trevor. I love cooking, and people have said I'm really good at it, but I'm not trained. I'm not a trained chef or anything. Would I have enough authority to teach a course related to cooking? Seems discouraging when Gordon Ramsay also has a course out.
You guys, what's his name? Shane Hurlbutt has a course similar to mine. He's a Hollywood DP. He's made hundreds of millions of dollars shooting Hollywood films, and I'm pretty sure my course outsells his. So do you need authority? Your results are your authority. We talk about this in the course. Results sell. So as far as cooking goes, if people just say your food is by far better than any food I've ever tasted, I don't know how you would portray that to a potential customer. That's a little bit harder because the results have to be physically tasted. But the point is, if your results are as good as Gordon Ramsay's, it doesn't matter. People are gonna buy your product just as much as Gordon's if your results are just as good.
If your students learn quicker and better, it doesn't matter who's selling it. Jordan, how do you not give too much away in the webinar?
So this is another secret that we'll teach in the course that a lot of people do backwards. And this is where I'm like, no, I don't think that's good. I mean, I've had a lot of people tell me your webinar was the best webinar I've ever watched. And they've watched hundreds or whatever. And the reason why is because I give out a lot of free value. The rule I go by is I try and give out as much free information as I can in that time allotted. The optimal time they've said is about a half hour to 40 minutes is the best retention time. My full-time filmmaker one's about an hour because I'm packing so much stuff into there. But my tactic is I'm going to try and give away as much free value as I can so that by the end of it, they're wanting to reciprocate, which is our second trigger, right? They're like, holy crap, I just got so much stuff from him. I feel like I owe him some money. And then you present them with a price. Here's what you can pay to join. And it's almost like, I feel like I owe you that just for what you've already given me, let alone for what the course provides after that. And so that's just another mental trigger tactic that we use is I try and provide as much value as I can, give away as many secrets as I can for free, because I know I have so much more in the paid product. And I'm like, look, this is a 30+ hour program. You're going to learn a lot, but I'm going to teach as much of it as I can in an hour. What I see a lot of webinars doing is they will withhold all of it. And it's like, they'll give you like 1 or 2% of their knowledge. And by the end, you're like, you didn't teach me anything. And they don't feel like they trust you. They don't feel like they should reciprocate. They don't hit on those mental triggers. And so by the end, you're just like, well, that was a waste of my time. I want my webinar to be so jam-packed full of value that people are just like, man, I have to buy this. If the paid course is anything like this free one, I have to buy it. So that's kind of my tactic. And so instead of giving away 1% of my value, I try and give away 80% of it. Give away as many free things as you can. And I'm always pitching it. So I'm like, so this is a great principle. You teach a little bit of it and say, I obviously can't cover all of that in this webinar. That gives you an idea. If you want more, join the full course. So it constantly allows you to pitch your product as you're giving away free nuggets and saying, here's a piece. We're going to give away more of it, but we don't have enough time. Let's just give you as much as we can right now. Thanks for your guys' time. May God protect you and keep pushing you. Thank you very much, Dave. Appreciate it. It's true. Your webinar was killer. Thanks, Sushi.
We used a very expensive camera.
What camera are you using for this webinar? This is the Red Weapon. If you guys notice on the screen here, you got in the corners right there, right there, right there. That's what the red screen looks like. So this is unnecessary. You guys can use a webcam. I use a webcam. I use my computer camera. So like, the camera on your laptop. I use that for like my first 5 live webinars and it sold great. So it's not like you need really high-end gear. We're a little bit more advanced, so we can use more advanced stuff, but definitely not necessary. Andrew, if you're still on there. Andrew, the course for Matt Townsend is called Feed Your Starved Marriage. Really good. He's an expert on helping save marriages. Really awesome stuff. Parker, you are YouTube God. Thanks, Joe. Yeah, and that's part of it, is creating YouTube content. The balance between what you put out for free versus what you keep in the course. I probably put out 10% of my videos for free on YouTube and keep 90% for paid customers. So that means you're going to have to put out a lot of content if you're going to want to keep that ratio, because I want to post a lot of YouTube content, but I don't want to post so much that I'm giving away too much for free. And so for every one video I put on YouTube, I try and make 3 or 4 videos for our paid members so that they feel like, yeah, we're getting more value than the free stuff on YouTube. Oh yeah, Joe, saying your name full out. But yeah, so that's a big tactic too. I'd say probably starting out 100% of my sales were coming from the Facebook and Instagram ads. Now I'd probably say 30 to 40% of my sales are coming from organic YouTube traffic. So that's a big part of creating those sales funnels, is putting out a lot of organic content on YouTube. And we'll share with you guys some tactics on how to get some videos out there that are start bringing in some traffic.
Dustin, the 1DX, you can stream from that for a half an hour and then it will shut down.
Well, this isn't recording, so that might not be true.
No, I tried.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Even when you're not recording?
So
Strange.
it's I think it has to do with the mirror or something like that. But like the C100, C200, camcorders, all those guys are built to last for long periods of time. I think the cheapest full frame is if you go buy an old C100, which I think I have one.
Is there any form of shadowing for Course Creator Pro like FTF? What could the shadow look like if there are good opportunities? There actually will be. So I kind of did one last week on with Tanner Townsend. I went in and remade a studio to make it look professional. We'll be doing stuff like that. My first one's going to be Josh Wright, who I mentioned does the piano lesson selling. I've been helping him kind of set up his, where he films his tutorials. And so I'll be doing some job shadows where I go in and remake over where he's filming his tutorials, give him some tips on how he's filming and give you before and after of how he was filming tutorials and what I would change to make them look and sound a little bit nicer. We'll also go in and show, okay, here's Josh's email funnel. And then I'll give kind of like a mix between Feedback Friday and Job Shadow, where we're giving feedback on people. And we'll be doing this hopefully for a lot of you guys, is you'll be sending us, okay, here's my product, my landing page. What do you think of it? Say, okay, here's what I would change about your landing page. I don't like this. This is a good thing. I would change that. And we'll be sharing all that with the members of the course too. So you guys can see more than just what we're doing, but what other people are doing and what we would change and improve upon for them so that they can benefit from our feedback, and so can you guys. Lifetime membership means, are there webinars in the future we can join? We're going to make one more webinar that's going to be automated, and we'll show you guys in the course how to do that. But we're not going to be doing more webinars like this. We'll do one more webinar that will run continuously. So lifetime membership means you have access to all the content inside the course. We won't be doing webinars in the course. We'll be doing video tutorials and Q&As and feedbacks and stuff.
I've never used the Blackmagic Pocket Camera.
Yeah, neither have I. I couldn't tell you about the Blackmagic. Again, the Canon SL2 is a $500 camera, and that can work great for filming tutorials. So anything above that can work great too.
Does Bud do your lawyer stuff?
Where's that question? Oh, so I know you talk about CPA a lot, but do you also have a lawyer that does stuff for you as well? Yeah, so my grandpa-in-law is actually my lawyer, and this is something to mention. When I started Full-Time Filmmaker, a few months in, I got a letter from the Utah Department of Commerce saying that I was acting as a post-secondary school, and that I had to register as such to continue being a business. And they had they had made the statute back in the 90s before the internet even existed. So I had my lawyer fight him and say, no, this doesn't apply to online schools, online, courses. And we went back and forth in this legal battle for over a year until eventually they changed the law. They overrid it thanks to what we did. And so that has opened it up for a lot of course creators to create courses without being deemed as a post-secondary school. So anyone in Utah, you can thank us for not getting a letter from the Utah State of Commerce because we already fought that legal battle. Anyone outside of Utah, I've talked to course hosting sites. They haven't ever heard of that happening in any other state. So you should be good on the green light there if you're outside of Utah. But yeah, as far as using a lawyer, that's the only real time I've had to use a lawyer. Hopefully you guys don't have to run into that issue. I don't plan on using him much longer anyway, because I hate taking advantage of family. So I'll probably hire my own lawyer soon here anyway. But
here's the sales again.
Oh, we did it. We hit 100,000 in revenue.
Did it.
Yeah, we appreciate all you guys supporting us and what we're doing. It allows us to make a living doing what we love, which is educating and sharing our knowledge. And we hope to see these same numbers coming from you guys. Obviously, what you see there, $100,000. Is it on there? Oh, that's not the right one. Yeah, you're good. I was looking at the wrong screen. We have like 5 computer screens up here right now. Obviously, these numbers are pretty high, but I had a pretty big audience to utilize to get those numbers. But my full-time filmmaker sales were pretty similar. We did about $80,000 my first week of full-time filmmaker sales, and at that time, I had 10,000 YouTube subscribers and 30,000 Instagram followers, and now I'm 10x that in my following. So definitely helps to have a following. Definitely helps to have those initial launches. But we'll talk about in the course how you can have maybe not that big of launches, but good launches starting out without having an initial following. Like, for example, going on Facebook forums and pitching your product to people who are interested in the topics you're talking about and building an email list that way. We had 15. I'm going to share the numbers with you right now. I had 200,000 people sign up for my full-time filmmaker email list. Of those 200,000 people, only 1,500 people showed interest in Course Creator Pro and signed up for that email list. Of those 1,500 people, about 600 signed up for this webinar. And of those 600, we had about 300 actually show up for the webinar. And of those 300 who showed up for the webinar, about 200 of you guys actually bought. So, that kind of gives you an idea of out of 1,500 people, 200 have already bought, which is, almost about 15% of the people on that list bought. So if you could go on Facebook pages and, like I did in a month, generate a list of 100 people interested in your product, of people that have never met you, that would equate to, if you could sell 15% of those, 15 sales on your launch day. So it's all about building that list, finding people interested in your product, and then just knowing that about 10 to 20% of those people will actually buy once you launch the product. So the bigger you can get that list, the bigger you can bank on your launch bringing in. And I told Dakota before this, having done it with Full-Time Filmmaker, I had a general idea of how many people would actually buy. I was telling Dakota the whole time, I said, all right, so we have 1,500 people joined. I said, I bet we'll get about 100 to 200 people to join in the first day based on what I know on percentages of what people buy. And we've had 200 people buy today, which was kind of my high goal. My low goal was 100. Let's at least get 100 people to join in the first webinar. And ideally, I want to hit more around 200, and we hit my ideal goal. So I have a pretty good idea, guys, of the statistics, the analytics of how many people you have to get. If you do this, if you do these things, these webinars, these tactics, you should get about this percentage to buy. I've got it down basically to a science. So a lot to learn. How does a 30-day money back work? So Joe, I mentioned this earlier, but this is a little bit different because the course isn't complete. I don't want you guys judging your experience on Course Creator Pro based on just the first 30 days because the course isn't done. It's going to take us a few more months to finish it and to really get all the value out of it. So please hang with us. Don't cancel in 30 days. If after we finish the course, Early next year probably is when we'll finish it. If by then you're still just like, nah, not valuable, not liking it, we'll refund you. I don't want your money if you're not getting any value out of it, but I can guarantee if you stick around for that long and really start implementing what we teach, you're going to get the value out of it. Yeah, you bet, Kevin. Transparency to me is the key to helping you guys succeed. Is you got to know what I'm doing in order to be successful yourself. How did you meet your mentors to help create FTF or CCP? So Chris Newman was my mentor. I talk about this in the course. He was doing a course teaching people how to fly drones for a living, and he was doing great numbers. He was texting me every week saying, "Dude, I made 10 grand this week selling my course," and he was what kind of convinced me, "Okay, I'll try it out." So he mentored me through the process. Pretty, it wasn't like he was sitting with me every day. It was like, no, I'd ask him emails every once in a while, based on, a few guidelines he'd give me. So it was nothing close to the kind of mentorship we're going to be giving you with this program. But without him walking me through and troubleshooting issues I had, I would have given up a long time ago. So yeah, Chris Newman was awesome and helped me with that. But since Full-Time Filmmaker has really surpassed, as far as success and revenue goes, has surpassed anything that my mentors are doing. So I really do think that I have a lot to share with you that even a lot of my mentors aren't doing that they could do as well, but they've kind of taken other directions and started doing other interests besides course creating. So let's see here. I'm a doctor who does courses as a consultant for other doctors. My nice industry is small. Do you think, probably niche, do you think these marketing principles that you're going to teach would apply to a small market that would not be well reached through Facebook or YouTube? That's a good question, Chris. I haven't attempted using a lot of these tactics on markets that are much smaller, that people aren't on Facebook and Instagram. Probably not going to be as effective as far as the actual tactics I teach. A lot of the marketing and advertising tactics I teach are pretty general. In your case, you're probably just not going to find as much success on Facebook specifically, or specifically with webinars. You might find that you'll have more success using our advertising strategies on LinkedIn or on Twitter or other platforms that doctors may be on, or there's a platform where doctors hang out on. I don't know. So I can't answer that question specifically. I will say that what we teach will be harder to implement if you don't have a really good way of targeting your demographic on social media.
Quick question. A couple people got charged $1,000.
Yeah, if you got charged $1,000 instead of $500 because your coupon code didn't work, just email us and we'll refund the $500. Some people rush so fast to be one of the first 100 that they accidentally get a link that doesn't have. They refresh and the coupon goes away and they join at full price without knowing it. What is the best way to research if an idea would work for an online course? Again, we talk about all that in the course. Market research is a lot you can do. I'd say one of the easiest and quickest ways is to go on Facebook forums. So, someone mentioned that they're doing tattoos. So go look on some tattoo Facebook pages and start asking questions about people interested in tattoos. Or someone mentioned about cross-country running. Go find Facebook pages. I mean, Facebook is such an amazing tool, guys. Go look at Facebook pages, join Facebook pages about cross-country running, and just start asking questions. Hey guys, I'm making a training course that's going to be covering how I've been able to do this. And anyone who's interested in your results, they're going to say, oh yeah, I have a question. How did you do this? How did you do that? And then you can start formulating an email list, and you can also start formulating a curriculum based off of what people want to know. Welcome, Aziz. Good to have you, my man. Just joined. Samuel, what's up, dude? Guys, Samuel worked for us for a while. Sam, good man. I don't feel like I would be able to create a course myself. but how could I use this to help somebody else who is a professional build a course without just selling them your course? So Samuel, you could, I mean, here's your pitch. You say, I took a course that teaches you how to build courses. You could take it too, but it's probably going to take you a few months to a year of your life on top of doing your skill, your profession, what you're an expert at. So you can take the course and learn it all and do it yourself, and film it and edit it all yourself. But I doubt you're going to have the time to do that while you're also doing whatever their profession is. And that's the case most of the time, is people who are really good at their profession aren't going to take the time to build a course. So I pitch it like that and just say, so look, I'll handle it all. We'll split it 50-50. All you have to do is show up. Let me shoot you. I'll go and do all the editing. It'll probably take me 6 months to put it together, or 2 months, or however long, the material is. It'd probably take you 5 times as long to do it on the side of doing your profession. So, that's why. And I've had people like Nick Sells, one of my good buddies. He asked me if he can make a filmmaking course similar to mine. And I'm like, go for it, man. All the more power to you. And about a month later, he came back and said, dude, I have no idea how you made time to build a course while also doing your profession. He's like, I don't know if I'll ever be able to finish this. So that's also a great way to go. Is a lot of people who are really good at their profession just don't have the time to create education. I was able to do it over 9 months, like I said, but if it was all I was doing, just creating a course, I could have done it in a third of the time, right? So yeah, that's a big thing, is most professionals who are good at what they do don't even have the time and don't want to think about creating a course. So good to have you, Joe. Welcome. Nice strategy to launch your course before we spend our money in Christmas gifts. Yeah, that's another tactic, is timing. So I told Dakota, I'm like, all right, we're going to pick a very specific date. 14th of November. It's before the holidays kick off. People still have money before they spent it on Black Friday stuff. It's far enough into the month where people haven't spent all their money that month, and they have a paycheck that they got the week before. So they have some money available. And we're doing it on a Wednesday, because Wednesdays have proven to be the best show-up rate for webinars. So a lot of good information like that will help optimize your performances of webinars and all that.
Vishal, we don't use DaVinci Resolve. Blackmagic actually approached us probably like a year ago and asked us they wanted to partner with us to make some courses for them, but
yeah, DaVinci flew us out to LA to take a course on DaVinci so that we can make a course. We might eventually someday. It's just not very popular. And that's another thing, is it's like, if you're going to take time to make a course, you better have a good audience to target. And Premiere Pro, Final Cut Pro, way bigger audiences than DaVinci Resolve. So it's like, I'm going to learn those softwares and teach those, because I can make a lot more money than I can teaching and selling DaVinci Resolve. Still a market. Still a lot of people that use it. It's just a lot smaller market. So that's the main reason why we haven't dove into that a ton, is just not as, and again, I probably will eventually, but I'm hitting the bigger markets first. Joe says, thank you for creating this. I can't tell you how many hours you have just saved me. Wait till you watch the course. I'm going to save you months. Please do more of these live webinars, because we love this asking you live questions. Yeah, I'm actually going to start doing that actually for Full-Time Filmmaker and Course Creator Pro. I'm going to start doing probably an hour live Q&A every week, instead of Feedback Fridays on those weeks, because I think people really like them. Will you hold competitions like FTF to judge for the best mini courses? Can we get featured by you if our courses take off? Yeah, so that's another thing, is I'm almost guaranteeing that some of you guys are going to come up with courses that I really like, and I'm going to want to partner up with you and be like, hey, look, dude, you have a really good course idea. You're struggling with a few things. Let me utilize my audience. Let me utilize my expertise and kind of partner with you, spend a few weeks with you to make this really sell, help you launch it really strong, send it out to my 200,000, email subscribers, maybe make a YouTube video about you to really kick you off. I'd kind of be acting as like the shark on Shark Tanks, and give me 10% of your business and we'll help you launch it and get it running smooth. So there's going to be opportunities for that as well. I don't know exactly what that looks like without seeing some of the businesses you guys are about to build, but I'm definitely, as a business entrepreneur, when I see a good idea, I want to be a part of it. And, you know, you may not want me to be part of it, but if you do, you want my expertise, want me to come in as a shark, then those might be some good opportunities that come up. So not as much competition, but more collaboration style stuff. We would love to partner with you. Yeah, well, you got to have a good idea, or else I don't want to. No, I'm just kidding. But seriously, the good ideas I'm going to be stoked about. And I've been doing that already for a bunch of my buddies for free, just because I want to test out what I'm going to be teaching you guys. But when I have hundreds of you guys, in order for me to want to invest significant time in some of your businesses, I'm probably going to want to take a little piece of that. Thanks for coming, Mike. Appreciate it. Man, 84 of you guys still here. I'm sick of hearing my voice. I don't know how you are. Oh. Will tactics like making courses available before Black Friday be included in the course? Absolutely. We have a full video that will be called, one that's called pricing strategies, one that's called, I think, I can't remember what I've called the video, but basically we'll have a full video covering how to use coupons, how to do sales, and the pros and cons of doing all that. And I will have so all of you who joined Course Creator Pro today, next week I'm launching my Black Friday sale. I'm going to be sharing with you all the details, the emails I sent out, the response rates I got, how many sales I ended up getting. So I'll be sharing with you guys all that Black Friday info next week, in fact. Should I focus on building a course, a following first, or building a course? I always tell people, build a product first. Here's why. If you have a product, you can afford to advertise that product, because when you advertise, it should be making you more money than you're putting in. So when you can afford to put advertising dollars behind your brand, that's going to increase the amount of followers you get, because you're exposing your brand, your product, to a lot more people. And so by doing that first, by having something that you can make you money, you can spend a lot of money on brand awareness. And so the following will automatically come as you're making money with your product. So when people are starting YouTube channels, I always tell them, oh, before you start putting out amazing content, make sure you have a product, something to sell. If you don't have a product yet, at least have a landing page that I show you how to set up in 2 hours on Squarespace. At least have a landing page where you can send people to go sign up to your email list for when you do have a product. And then in every YouTube video you make and every social media post, you point to that and say, hey guys, hope you enjoyed this content. I'm actually going to be coming out with a course soon, or I already have a course you can check out here, or it's not ready yet, but you can sign up for my mailing list. So click in the link below to get signed up for that mailing list. I'm going to be having a ton of awesome content like this in a paid course coming up soon. So you're building anticipation, and then you're getting, a lot of people signed up that you can then email when you do launch a course. That will allow you to, again, have that big email list that 10 to 20% of people will buy that product once you actually launch it. Welcome, Yanni, just bought. Good to have you. And Gustin joined a few minutes ago. Good to have you. The question about following first is really an interesting one, Parker. It is. Build a product first. It'll help you build a following. You can do them simultaneously. I obviously started putting out YouTube videos and building a following before I had a course. But I look at guys like Brody Smith and a lot of those big YouTubers. I'm trying to convince them. I keep telling Brody, I'm like, dude, make $100 product of you training people how to be a professional Frisbee player. Like, you have 2 million subscribers on YouTube and you're always selling, the Salvation Army and other random products that are sponsoring your videos. But if you had your own product, you could always be pitching that along with the sponsorship and say, this video is sponsored by Salvation Army. Go check them out. Also, go check out my product where I teach you how to, become a professional Frisbee player for only $100. Link in the description. It's like, for every YouTube video you do, those hundreds of thousands of views you're getting, the millions of followers you have, every video you have, they're going to get a little pitch taking them to one of your paid products. And so you'll always be bringing in money to those paid products every time you release content. So I always tell people, be smart and drive traffic to your own products, not just other people's products that are sponsoring you. No one knows this stuff better than you. I feel like I know it pretty well. I'm still learning. I do know it better than a lot of people, but there are people that know it better than me. But like I said, hopefully by having you guys ask me lots of questions, I will continue becoming more knowledgeable on this stuff. Chris Liniger is signing up. Do you have any lessons that show how to stop plagiarizing my course? So yeah, I cover this in the course, and I basically say it's going to happen. People are going to plagiarize your course if it's good. But think about Adobe. How many of you have used, pirated Adobe software before actually buying it? It almost works to their advantage. They get you hooked on using Adobe, and then eventually you end up buying their product. So if Adobe can have probably half the people who end up buying their products at one point buy it illegally or get it illegally, if they can have a multi-million-dollar business, billion-dollar business, however big they are, then we can get away with it too. In other words, Full-Time Filmmaker has been plagiarized. It has been reproduced and resold for a lot cheaper than what I sell it for all over the internet. It's probably been repurposed like 7 or 8 times, and it cuts into my sales a little bit. It might affect me 5%, but it's not worth the hassle of legally trying to shut them down, trying to attack them, wasting your energy on those kinds of people. They're going to be there. They're going to happen, but it's not going to be worth your time and effort to try and get them shut down. The people I've found that 90% of people are honest and good people. And at some point, even if they do plagiarize your course, they're going to feel bad about it and, come buy your full course. Or most people in general just aren't going to be looking for a free version over being willing to pay for your course from you personally. Also, if you guys include things like personal mentoring, you include bonuses that they can't get just in the course itself, then it doesn't matter if someone bought a plagiarized version. They're not going to get personal access to you, which is half the product anyway in my case. And so it's like, yeah, great, you have the tutorials, but what if you have any questions? It's like, you gonna email me and expect me to email you back if it's plagiarized, if you didn't buy the actual product? So that's just figure out ways where you include bonuses they can't get in the course itself, like the Facebook page. People can only get into my Facebook page if they bought the actual product. So yeah, and trust me, Mo, I've gone through the legal process on. I've gotten some shut down and some they're too well anonymous, they're too well hidden that we can't touch them. So yeah, you can get them shut down sometimes, and sometimes you can't. But again, is it worth the time and effort? Usually not. Do I know Brandon Lee? I don't. I don't collaborate nearly as well with YouTubers as I should. I plan on doing it more in the future, but again, I'm an introvert. I'm just like, I'm going to chill here in my house. So I will do more of that, and we'll talk about how to do good collaborating and good affiliate marketing and all that. Can you be my shark? I would totally give you a percentage. Yeah, dude. Get signed up, man, and we'll discuss things. Again, I'm crunched on time, and so depending on how much time it requires of me, maybe not, maybe we'll see. It depends on if I believe in what you're doing, and I'm really excited about it. I know someone who has a teachable skill that I could partner with. Should I approach them with, I'll set this up and run it, or I'll set this up and we'll manage it together? I think it kind of depends on how much they want to do. You might need them to help manage it. Maybe they have to be a part of the mentoring or the customer service because only they know the answers to the questions or whatever. But I mean, if you were willing to set it up and run it all by yourself, you can probably obviously take a bigger percentage than you could if they have to be a lot required to put a lot more time and effort into it. So I think that kind of depends on how much they want to be involved and how much they're willing to give up percentage wise and whatnot. Work at Paramount Pictures, and I would be awesome to go through this and share with them some of these. Welcome, Chris. Good to have you, my man. Favorite country you've traveled to? Love Nepal. Loved Israel. Love Guatemala. Love New Zealand. Iceland's pretty cool. It's probably my top. Okay, we'll go. How about 5 more minutes? You guys are still hanging around. We'll go 5 more minutes, and then we'll cut you off here. Ask a few more questions. I ran out of my 3 water bottles. I'm gonna get some more. Are you partnering or working out partnerships with any other experts wanting to create a course? And how much time are you putting in that partnership? So that's right now, what you guys are wanting to do is what I'm doing with Parker. So Parker is the expert on creating courses. And I'm essentially the person going to him and saying, hey, let me make a course on how you make courses. And so I put in all the sweat equity, or most of the sweat equity, and then I get to use Parker's expertise and his name to help promote that product. So I put in a lot of time. You should be putting more time in than the expert, and that's where your value comes from. I missed the webinar. Will there be a video available later? Well, this webinar is kind of the rough draft version. We threw this together. We're going to make a nice, concise, clear, everything we want in a short amount of time possible. And that one you're going to be able to see a lot. Is there a way to save this and give it to them, or? Yeah. Webinar Jam usually saves your webinar for you. I actually don't know. I haven't used this new one. I used to do it a while back. So we'll let you know on that. But I mean, all this stuff we teach way more in depth in the course. So if you liked this webinar, then it's just the iceberg. If we have it saved, we'll send it out. But if not, yeah, it's all in the course, but much more clear and concise. Does your wife ever disagree with any of your business ideas? Let me grab her. Do you ever split test prices? Yeah, there's all sorts of testing you can do. We'll go in depth in that. That's important. Do you disagree with my business ideas sometimes?
Oh gosh. Hello, everyone.
They asked, does your wife ever disagree with your business decisions?
For the most part, no, I would say. We agree on most things. Park does a lot of things. He just goes and does a lot of things without much counsel from me. So
if he asked you, would you disagree?
No, I mean, at least these last couple things he's done, I've had confidence that he'll do.
He'll do well. How
so.
about the first time with Full-Time Filmmaker? How confident were you then?
I was actually, pretty confident. I wanted him to quit working for someone else and to do what he loved, and so I was pretty supportive of that and knew that he could make it work. But it definitely was a big sacrifice, at least of time, for the two of us. So I didn't see him much for a year, but it was worth it.
There is sacrifice involved.
Yes.
And it does take a great partner in crime that's willing to allow you to sacrifice your time to really be successful. But getting married, I let her know that. I'm like, look, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm going to be putting a lot of time and effort into things and working 10, 12-hour days. But I promise it'll pay off. And if we are willing to work right now like nobody else is willing to, then we can live like nobody else can later down the road.
I'll
Just
bow
thanks,
out
honey.
now. Yeah.
This isn't get rich quick. It takes work. It's hard, but we firmly believe anyone can do it, and we can teach you how to do it. And at the end of the day, it's worth it. It's just worth it.
Going back to what Dakota was saying about, he's a great example of someone who approached the expert and said, because I'm like, dude, I don't have time to make this Course Creator Pro, but I want to, and I want to get that information out there. So if you are willing to put in all the time, I'll script and then film myself doing the tutorial. Then you take care of the rest. Then I'll split it with you. And then once it's up and running, once we finish the content, I want you to run the whole thing. Obviously, I'll make appearances and I'll be mentoring and all that, but you're going to do 90% of the work once it's up and running. I'm the expert. And so like he was saying, I'm not going to be doing a lot of the the sweat work. That's going to be mostly you, but I'm allowing you to monetize my information, gain off of my knowledge by helping me build it, doing something that I couldn't do on my own because I don't have the time because I'm running my own business. So it's a great partnership, a great way to build courses. How much time did it take you to make FTF shadowing, making tutorials, and how much time did it take you to make the second course? Did it take lesser time for Course Creator Pro? Yeah, a lot of it with Course Creator Pro has been a lot easier and down to more of a science because I've already done it. Full-Time Filmmaker took about 9 months of filming and editing and creating videos to get my initial launch, which was about 45 videos when I launched. And then obviously over the next couple of years, I've vamped that up to hundreds of videos. And we'll talk about at what point should you launch a course. With Full-Time Filmmaker, I had more of a complete product. With this one, it's kind of a half product. And so we'll compare with you once we've gone through this process to compare kind of the pros and cons to doing it that way. But yeah, so it does take time. It would take a lot less time if I was doing it full time, but I was working a full-time job as a filmmaker, and then, from 5 p.m. to midnight, I would work a second job in creating Full-Time Filmmaker. So it did take a lot longer because it was kind of a side project. Can you guys provide rough draft scripts and the content, early research type material? Yeah, so we'll be sharing all that with you guys and show you the whole process of what we're doing. Thanks for sharing your husband with us. Yeah. So speaking of managing employees, I mentioned that I brought on Jake Weisler about 6 or 7 months ago, and he's been integral to helping me scale Full-Time Filmmaker. Jake, can you come on in? He just arrived at my house to grab a piece of gear. He always takes my drone. And so here's Jacob Weisler. Jake, tell him your experience of coming on and working as a Full-Time Filmmaker employee and what it's been like being incentivized by being able to have a percentage of the course sales, and just any general advice you'd give them if they were to bring on employees, of what you think has worked that I've done well, what I haven't done well that has helped you want to further my business and help it grow.
Yeah, Parker's been an awesome boss. When when I started working with him, it was just part-time because I was running my own thing, which is successful because of his first course. And so I already had complete faith in Parker's system of work and Parker's methods and Parker's expertise. I had complete trust in him because he helped me go from nothing to full-time within 3 months. And so he brought me on. He was paying me a monthly salary, which was more than fair for what I was doing for him, just some back-end administrative stuff. And then I remember, I think it was in February or March, where you went on vacation. And he said, tell you what, you run things for 2 weeks. You were on vacation. You were working in Japan.
Yeah, it was work vacation.
Yeah. So he said, tell you, I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks. I won't have access to a computer all the time. Just spend time with my family. I'll give you, I think it was 10%. I think he said, I'll give you 10% of whatever you make, of whatever sales we bring in these next 2 weeks. And so for me, making a certain amount, I think I was getting like $2,000 a month to work for him. And then he said, I'll give you 10% of the sales for these next 2 weeks. And I was like, dang. So
and he worked his butt off. I was like, wow, if that's what it takes to get someone to work, I'm down.
yeah, those next 2 weeks, I was like, babe, I put all my stuff aside. I was like, babe, I'm gonna go all in for the next 2 weeks helping Parker do this thing. And I did. I had so much fun. It was stressful. I didn't know how much he was really doing, and I just kind of tried to take control of everything in customer service, 120%. And I think our sales like doubled those 2 weeks.
Yeah, it was, I mean, whatever I was doing while I was running Full-Time Filmmaker, when he took over for those 2 weeks, our sales went way up. And I was like, holy crap, what it takes to have somebody else who's fully dedicated to those sales coming in to help with customer service and all that. And so that's when I realized, okay, you got to pay people percentages so they can see, that their work is actually being rewarded. So,
Right.
yeah.
And then a few months later, I came on full time, and you just put me on a commission salary, which has greatly influenced my work ethic and making sure I can bring in more for the business, because that means I get a bigger paycheck. And that way I enjoy working for him. I enjoy
Right.
creating these things, enjoy helping him, because I know that my efforts will pay myself as well.
Right. And like I mentioned, I was probably making around $100,000 a month by myself when I brought him on to give him a percentage, doubled, tripled. So even though I'm paying him a great paycheck every month, he's helping me make a lot more than I could have on my own. Like I mentioned with Devin Supertramp, when I was working for him, I wanted to have a percentage of that with him, and he's like, "Nah, I'm just gonna do my own thing." And I'm like, "But dude, wouldn't you rather have 80% of 2 million or 100% of 1 million?" So just different ways of thinking. Some people like to do it all on their own. Some people like to build a team around them. I like to build a team. Alleviates the amount of work I have to do and helps me make more money. So thanks, Jake. Appreciate it. You can grab the drones right there.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Backpacks over here. Cool. All right, guys. I think we're going to wrap up here. Yeah. I think we're done, guys. Appreciate you guys stopping by. We'll be sending out an email here shortly for all of you who have joined to join the private Facebook group. Sorry, we had the wrong link there in the course. But we'll send that out here shortly and start getting involved with all of you guys, start helping you guys build your courses. Super stoked to be doing this. Again, I'll be splitting time with Full-Time Filmmaker and Course Creator Pro to be able to help both of you, both of these groups grow in different ways. But appreciate you guys, your support for all of you guys who have joined. We hope to give you the best quality customer service we can and helping you grow. And I'm excited, stoked to see what you guys create and the success stories that you have. It would just make my life to see other people making 6, potentially 7 figures, doing exactly what I've taught them how to do. And at that point, I would just say, with all the money that I do help you make at some point, I would just say, use that money and pay it forward. Utilize the success I give you and try and make the world a better place with that money and with your knowledge. And instead of just, buying 5 houses and keeping it all to yourself. Just my one request is, if I do help you be successful, if you could do your best to help other people out with what you've been blessed with. And that way we can keep cycling this forward and make the world a better place, as cheesy as that sounds. But appreciate your time, guys. If you have any further questions, reach out to us at support@CourseCreatorPro.com. I'll type that in here real quick. CreatorPro.com. Shoot us an email if you have any lingering questions. Get involved in the Facebook group. We'll send that out here shortly. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for coming, Rodney. Thanks for coming, Armando, Zach, Chris, Joe, Marshall, Lucas. Thanks, everyone, for coming out today. That's it, guys. If you have any further questions, please let me know.